Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build Paint Play. I'm Dave.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake, and today we're going to be joined by the fantastic. Which way is he? He's over here on my screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other way, that way.
This way?
Over there.
So,
this way.
some of you might recognize John Shaffer. We've had him on previous episodes in the past. Today we're going to be on talking about Necromunda and a lot of this projects that he's been working on.
Yeah.
Super excited. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. I'm great. Very, very good. How are you guys doing?
Excellent. Good. Good. How are things in the snowy, frozen north?
Very cold right now, but it's fine because I got like tons of projects to do, and I work from home, so I don't have to leave. It's great.
Nice.
John, where are you?
What's that?
Where are you?
Minneapolis, outside of Minneapolis.
Okay, yeah.
Excellent.
Similar parallel. He's just out west.
Yeah, pretty much. It has just started snowing here this afternoon, so.
Did you guys get very much snow out that way, or?
Not too much this year.
Yeah.
We got another 6 inches over the weekend.
Okay.
I mean, I'm in Boston, so
yeah. You might be getting some more. But anyway, let's say hi to everybody in the chat. We've got Scott here. Scott was in nice and early and said, "Jake, don't forget to hit us up with your 10 paints." Remember, you had to put them together from last week.
Yeah. I will. We can do that. We can do that towards the end, not in the hobby section.
After the John Blanche set hits on the 22nd, he'll paint up a Skaven and a Stormcast with my picks, and then he'll do the same with yours.
Okay.
That'd be very cool. Great exercise, I think. Looking forward to that, Scott. Dave Hummel says, in action. We were a little bit late. Sorry about that, Dave. Louis says, hi to all the members of the Brotherhood of the Miniature Painting, ready for another awesome show. Awesome. Chris Cummings says, evening all. Jess Hunt is here as well. Good evening, brush lickers. Everyone's doing well. Not too bad. And Alan Borthwick with this, Granolin Z, saying afternoon all. Very cool. Welcome. Phew. It's been a busy week.
Already, I know.
It's only Tuesday. Nice. Excellent. Sorry, just quickly, Dave Hall says, waiting for the potential 2 to 8 inches tomorrow because nobody knows, as usual, for Missouri weather.
Yeah, just get blindsided, I'm sure.
But John Shaffer, what have you been working on? I know you've got a whole bunch of Necromunda stuff that you're working on.
Yeah.
Have you had the opportunity to do anything outside of Necromunda, or
anything outside of Necromunda? It's mostly been steeped in that because we're kicking off a new campaign here locally with all my friends. So we're kind of in the middle of that, and then I'm also have a lot of prep to do for AdeptiCon. But I guess the one thing I did do is I painted a bunch, or at least primed and assembled a bunch of Kill Team dwarfs that I can use both for Kill Team and for Necromunda. So maybe that counts.
Okay, cool. It can be good. Yes, Kill Team and Necromunda.
Yeah, it's Hearthkin Salvagers. I painted a bunch of those guys.
Anything you can, any crossover is always good, I think.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time. Like the most mileage I've gotten so far, I think, are the Blackstone Fortress Chaos Cultists, like the Traitor Guardsmen.
Yeah,
I use those in like 4 different games. It's great.
Excellent. That is good. Brendan Bell is watching us. He says, "Are we going to discuss Flan in addition to Necromunda?"
Yeah, we can talk about that.
We can do that.
I have opinions.
Yep.
I enjoy Flan. I'm on board.
Yeah,
awesome. And John Steining is with us. Says hi. Awesome. Scott Radin says it's only minus 25 in sciences here now.
Dang, minus 25. I think it is negative 10. I think is as bad as it got today, but that is awful.
Yeah, minus 25.
Cool.
That'd be minus 25 Celsius.
Oh yeah,
that's great. So whatever that is in Fahrenheit.
Who knows?
Anyway. Awesome. Jake, what are you up to hobby-wise?
Same thing, just kind of cracking away at the all the conversion stuff I'm doing for AdeptiCon. Ben, not meaning to, monkey wrenched my what I thought I was working on. So my Praetor's done. There's a photo that we'll show off. My Praetor's done. My Leviathan is done. The 2 tac squads are done. I'm waiting for the Mark III squad from the new one is back in talk with Citadel, so they sent it to me. So I got to wait for that. And my 3D pieces showed up, but I don't know if I told you. So my Warhounds conversion bits, I ordered a bunch of right and left pads because the Space Marines are supposed to have the symbol on their left shoulder, but if you're wearing Mark VI armor, it has to go on the right shoulder because they have the studs.
Yep.
And I always try to make sure that my stuff is historically accurate, as it were, because Heresy is a historical game. So I had to look everything up, and it's like, it's always supposed to be on the left side unless you have an Imperialis symbol or Mark VI or you're a Terminator or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I'll get some of each. So my order shows up. I got a bunch of little Warhound symbols, and I got some chain axe hands, and then the left side ones are Salamanders logos. And I was like, wow, these are really cool. Like, I didn't order them, but they're really cool. So I messaged who's the guy that we talked to last year from Pop Goes the Monkey?
Oh, Matt Schweitzer.
Yeah, so I messaged Matt and was like, hey man, not a big deal, but I got the wrong thing. Can you guys send it to me? And he was like, oh yeah, send me a photo so I know what it is. And he's like, I'll drop those in the mail. So I'm waiting for those pieces. But so I'm converting my, what are they? They're loyalist rampagers. I'm doing a rampager squad. Mm-hmm. So I'm using the current berserkers because they're bigger. So they're about the same size as the Mark VI Heresy guys. And then I basically have a bunch of stuff out of my bits box. So I'm doing some arm swaps and some head swaps, and had to cut and file off all of the corn symbols that are everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they're really nice. They're a really good kit. It's a super dynamic kit to work with. But I'm trying to do a balanced weapon loadout. So I have 4 guys with the phalanx blades, and all I did was I used the paired Grey Knights knives for I forget what squad it is that uses the paired hand blades, but so I use those, and those are great. So that's a swap. And then I did 4 guys with the excoriator chain axes, which I'm just using the berserker chain axes for because they're huge 2-handed axes. I was like, awesome. And then I was like, and I got to do 4 warhammers. And Ben goes, what weapon is it? And I was like, I don't know. They have whatever the world leader's hammer is. And he's like, are they meteor hammers? And I was like, oh yeah, I think so. He goes, those are supposed to be like mason chain. And I was like, son of a bitch. They were the last 4 that I'm working on. I was like, okay, so now I need to source parts to get that. So a buddy of mine thinks he might have some of the chains from what are they, Wrathmongers? I think from Age of Sigmar, the guys with those might be good. I only need 4 of them. or I might do the actual maces from the older. Yeah, like those would be great.
Flagellants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those from Flagellants?
Yeah.
I guess I could do that too. The problem is I don't want to buy a box of Flagellants for 4 flails.
Dude,
Like,
I have so many flagellant parts. If you need those, I got you covered. No.
I'll let you know if I'm gonna try to. I think the ones that look coolest are the big like sensor maces, or the flail that the Dark Knight or the Dark Angels
Knights.
Deathwing Knights command squad.
Yeah.
I was like, those are kind of cool. And a buddy of mine's like, I think I have like 5 of them. He's like, I didn't use them. I built all the guys with swords. And I was like, okay, so if I can get that to work, I just got to basically cut off some hands. I was like, that'd be perfect. So, but thankfully Ben like caught me. I was literally about to glue the warhammers on. And he was like, well, they don't have warhammers. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, they have meteor hammers. And I was like, but they're hammers. And he's like, yeah, but it's like a ball and chain. And I was like, they don't say that anywhere in the book. But yeah, so they're coming along. It's a really nice kit. I do like the Berserker kit. It's really cool.
That's cool. I have a World Leaders Army, and I've been thinking about trying to do Rampagers at some point. Maybe I'll take a look at them. Sounds like a good option.
Nice.
And the scale is right because they're a little bit bigger, but not like if you're using all the newer stuff. If you're using like the new Mark III and Mark IV sculpts and Mark VI sculpts, they're right in there. Like they're not like Primaris size. They're definitely big, but they're not Primaris. So, but really nice kit. The new one is great.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Excellent. Jonathan Palomo has joined us. He says, "Hello guys, getting to play versus the new Eldar Codex tonight."
Oh, nice. We've moved so much of that stuff. 12-year-old me is like, I still want to make the Swordwind host.
Yeah,
like.
I feel like at some point I need to paint all the plastic aspect warriors.
Yeah, at some point I'm gonna have to. They're so pretty. They're so nice.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think is still weird is we were talking about this the other day. A kid came in and we were talking about like what's new versus what needs to be reprinted. And we were all there when I remember buying an Eldar army in like blisters. Like I definitely did that. So
it was my first army, like in 1992 or something like that. Really long time ago.
Yeah, way back. So this one kid was like, well, what's new? And I was like, well, I remember when Jess Goodwin updated, we got the new plastic Falcon and we got the new plastic Guardians, the box, and then we got the plastic Warwalkers, and there was something else.
That was later, but yeah.
But so those have all been updated. They're not part of the new update.
All right.
So I was like, there's a bunch of stuff that's been updated. And he was like, is there anything that hasn't been? And I was like, basically all of the characters. So, Uriel and who's the sniper guy?
Illic Nightspear.
Yeah, so Uriel, Illic Nightspear, Karandras, we still don't have a model for Karandras.
For a second there, I thought you said Philip Nightspear.
Philip,
Philip Nightspear.
Good old Philip.
Yeah, he's a lawyer who works for the Craft Worlds, but also is a hunter in his off days. There was one other one we were trying to think about. There's one other unit that like hasn't been updated.
Well, the Viper is really old. That's ancient. That's like one of the first plastic kits. But I don't really think it needs to be updated. It's
no, right, because it was part of that. It was part of that Jess Goodwin update where he basically picked like 3 vehicles and redid them all.
Yeah,
but it's weird that Karandras isn't out because I was like, the Scorpions came out like 6 or 8 months ago.
Yeah,
and every time they've done one, like they did, the Banshees, and then we got Janzar, and then they did the Dark Reapers, and then we got Mogan Ra. And then it's like they did the Scorpions, and they were like, we're just not going to talk about it. And then now we got everybody else with new Phoenix Lords except for Karandras.
I wonder if they're going to do something weird with the lore because of that. Because Karandras has always kind of had like a weird tie with the Incubi and the Dark Eldar stuff. Yeah. And
there is a Karandras model. He's labeled Drazar.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, that's Asha, Master of Blades. Asha's the original Scorpion.
Yeah, right. But I guess what I was getting at is that like the Striking Scorpions and like the Dark Eldar have always kind of had like a weird lore thing.
The new Scorpions are
wild speculation. Who knows what they're going to do? Maybe they're just getting into it because did any of those other aspects were kind of released alongside a 40K release, but the Striking Scorpions were released in a Kill Team box, right? Like that's kind of how they came out first.
Yep.
So maybe they're just trying to get. I don't know. Maybe they're just getting to it. Who knows?
Yeah, it was. So we're trying to figure it out. It was those, and then the only other thing that looks weird now with the new models, because again, like we were saying, now every aspect is in plastic. Every aspect. Mm-hmm. So, in fact, they even introduced a new Phoenix Lord with was it Lycus, the Spider-Man one, like that model is great. But so I guess the Dire Avengers are still too small. Like they're from that whole wave we were talking about. Mm-hmm. So the new Guardians are bigger than them, and now all the Aspect Warriors are like noticeably bigger than the Dire Avengers. So what Ben's been doing is you buy the Dire Avengers and you buy a box of Guardians and you just do a bunch of head swaps because the Guardians are bigger. Like you're like, oh, those guys are, it's like Primaris Marines and Firstborn. Like if you put them together, if you want either of them alone, you're fine. But if you put them in the same army, it looks weird.
I wonder if the specific parts, like the little back fins and stuff that were on the Dire Avengers, if those would fit with the new Guardian kits. If they're,
I think that's what Ben did. Ben just swapped them all.
Yeah, just swap out the parts that would be specific.
Yeah. Like, because the bodies are basically the same. It's like you said, it's basically the backpack and the head, and then like their guns. So,
which is cool because those new Guardian models have a really dynamic poses. There's some quite a bit better ones than those original Guardians.
Yeah, well, these guys.
Yeah, a little bit down, a little bit up.
There's the three guys. There's the down. Yeah, there's the down. Yeah. There's the kind of neutral, and then there's the up. Those are the three guys. Like,
Well, everybody starts out like that. Then you just get tired.
Yeah, exactly. Right. As the day progresses, enthusiasm meter goes down.
Those Wraithbone guns are weighty.
Yeah, they're much heavier than they look, for sure. Hank has joined us. He says, evening. Josh Potter is here. He said he came home, took off his orange jacket, petted his orange cat, and started working on his orange Space Marines.
Nice.
It's a fine color.
I think we have a theme. Excellent. Very cool. Okay. I think now that Hank's here, of course, we can mention
100%.
100%. Okay, so
that's why Hank's here. Hank's here to make sure that we're following
we're following the rules,
the directions.
So the wonderful folks at AdeptiCon, you may have noticed this with some other folks who are in the content creator sphere, letting people know that AdeptiCon has gifted, well, we can let you know, AdeptiCon has gifted us a ticket to AdeptiCon 2025, plus $20. So core badge plus $20 that you can spend on whatever you like: shot glasses, coasters, dice, or hoodie, or event tickets, that kind of thing. If you want to go and play Necromunda, for example, you could go onto the wait list, I suspect.
It filled up really fast this year.
So we have a little competition, and the way that we're going to sort of hand this AdeptiCon 2025 ticket onto somebody is you get to make a comment. So like, subscribe, make a comment in the after the show, not in the chat, but after the show, in the comment section. And you have to comment which Legion Jake is taking to Adepticon this year. Okay, which Legion is it? He's mentioned it before in other shows, but he's also going to mention it right now.
Okay, so I'm running Imperial Warhounds.
Okay, so you get to put that in a comment down below, and we'll do this again next week as well on the episode 6.
Hank's like, we did what?
Fantastic. I love it. Absolutely. So free ticket to AdeptiCon.
Yes, it's a free badge. It has to be for a new account. It's not, you can't swap it out for if you already bought a badge. If you did, awesome. Like, thanks for supporting the guys. But if you know somebody who wants to go, or somebody who hasn't bought their ticket yet, if they entered this, they would get a badge that they can register. You would basically give us your info. Dave and I are going to email everything to, I would assume, Hank and Shelly and whoever. And then
back to Jeff. Jeff Jewell.
Yeah, sorry. So Jeff is going to take care of it, and then you will be able to show up, show your ID, and then there'll be a badge that's all set for you.
Yeah. So all good. So again, comment down below after the show in the comment section, not in the chat. the name of the legion that Jake is taking, which is Jake.
Imperial Warhounds.
Woo! Okay, cool. We'll do that again next
These
week.
guys.
Nice. Excellent.
Did you get that transfer sheet back in the day, Jake, that has all those symbols and stuff on it?
Yeah, so you're talking about the World Leaders one that has some in the corner? Yeah, I have it.
Cool.
A buddy of mine has one too, and he was like, "Do you want these?" I was like, "Yes, give me all of the Warhound stuff."
Yeah, I have some too if you need some, so just let me know.
I got to figure out what I have, because it's not a lot. It's like a handful of the rampant dog, and then there's a handful of heads, and then there's some chains.
If you want to use the chains and stuff,
yeah. But I gotta look it up. The coolest thing I thought was they did a great job of like sort of pseudo retconning, where they explained that the reason why the World Eaters have that symbol is it's the spiked Warhound collar. Because they used to just use the collar sideways as a logo. And then Angron's like, I'm butthurt. So he like drew some teeth on it and like painted the world in the background. And I was like,
angry. Yeah.
He's like, call me the Red Angel. I was like, listen, son, there's already one Red Angel and you're not
him. God. I'm just imagining Angron in like an arts and crafts project. He's like,
he's got some sprinkling red glitter everywhere. He's like, I'll show Dad.
This is beautiful and full of rage.
He's figure painting. He's not a paintbrush kind of guy.
Yeah. Nice. I'm going to say hi to Patrick Keith here, Sculpt Dude. Scott Radham suggests that we put buy a bunch of chocolate bars and put the ticket in one of those.
Ooh, nice.
I did like.
We might just buy a bunch of chocolate bars.
Yeah, we can still do that for sure. Jess says I'd do it, but I don't reckon the $20 would cover my airfare. Unfortunately, not. Next time around, maybe.
I mean, maybe.
We'll see.
I don't know what your rates are like in New Zealand.
No, Jez is in the UK. Maybe you can play.
That's reasonable.
A $99 flight, maybe. Awesome. Excellent. Okay, so should we get stuck into some other bits and pieces?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Okay. We will share the screen. Click, click, click. It's not that many clicks, I guess. There we go. So, thanks very much to the Army Painter for being our sponsor for season 6. Very excited to have them with us. We're looking forward to catching up with them all at AdeptiCon. I think you probably catch up with some folks at Gamma.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. I know I'm gonna see Adam.
Yep.
I think Cat goes to. I don't know if Cat goes to Gamma or not.
Might be.
Because it's not like it's a trade show. It's not a sales show.
Yeah, but they might need to set up a booth.
I think they'll both be there. I know we're going to see them at Adepticon.
Yeah,
but I know I see Adam at Gamma. So
yeah, cool, excellent. Just quickly as well, Alan has said, do you guys have plans for a meetup yet at Adepticon? We haven't planned anything.
We will. We will.
We'll let you know.
We're going to be. Dave and I will be at the. Dave and I don't even know the details for this yet, but Dave and I will be at the media meet and greet or whatever it's called, like
content creators meet and greet on.
Yeah, like so we'll be at that, but I don't know if that's like something that's open to the public or if that's just what I mean. Like,
yeah,
we'll be at that, but I don't know. But we will definitely do something. We'll do a BuildPaintPlay meetup or something.
Yeah, for sure. But I wanted to pop this in. So there's a quick video. There's a longer video on their YouTube page, but how to paint a Grimdark Space Marine. So this is painted up with a bunch of the John Blanche paints and a few others outside of that set. I particularly loved the comment here from Brotastic Batman, which was, I mean, the paints look nice, but I wouldn't go so far as to saying this is Grimdark.
Wow, Brotastic Batman, you might want to like take a peek. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with who John Blanche is, but
I got the feeling maybe not. But anyway, it made me chuckle. So thank you, Army Painter. We're looking forward to catching up with you soon.
Guys, literally, like that is the definition of mansplaining. It's like, hey, let me explain this to you. It's like, dude, do you really know what you're talking about? Because it seems like you don't. There's a lot of that going around. I get it, but
there is. So I just want to mention as well, the 28 collected Kickstarter wrapped up today.
Killed it, Dave.
We did kill it. We ended up with 2,222 backers.
Nice.
So pretty excited by that. Definitely cool. We're really looking forward to getting all the files off to the printers by the end of the month, and then hopefully be able to fulfill this summer. It'll be nice. But following on from that, Kickstarter that kicked off today. Our friend Aaron Dill from Jolly Lark. Aaron does the painting handles that I use. Nice. I have sitting on my wall here. I probably should have done it with one with a model on it. But he has one which is Byzantine trenches. Launched today. It's I think it's $24 for the pledge, and you get the STL files for a whole set of cool terrain stuff. Let me just go back to this. That one? Yep, there we go.
I like your painting handle rack in the background, or whatever you got going on there. That's pretty cool.
Yep, that's what that is.
That's where Dave keeps his doorknob collection.
I know. Vintage.
Vintage doorknobs. They're colonial era exclusively.
Yeah, exclusively.
Exclusively, for sure. But so these pieces of terrain, Aaron sent me up a couple of or a few pieces. They're all sort of relatively hollow, but with a solid bottom, solid casing. Filament printed. And I did a John Shaffer rattle can method on this.
Nice.
Hit it with some uniform gray. Then
he has that trademark. You have to say it.
Yeah. Peak efficiency. I like it.
And uniform gray spray, then gray sear from above, and then oak brown from like around the bottom for that little filter.
I like that terrain. I think it would be really useful for I'm looking for a set for Rangers of Shadowdeep right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this would be great for that. This would be I think this would look excellent in Frostgrave as well.
Mm-hmm.
But so he has pieces like this. He has separate wall pieces that you can stick on the side of like 2-inch foam. And there's a bunch of cool scatter pieces too, which you can see on the Kickstarter, which is linked below. Next week, we also have Jake's friends Brian on talking about his skirmish game called Sqwurmish, which launched on Kickstarter today as well. There is a link down below. You can check that out. Next up. Oh, that's what I didn't mention. I didn't mention my hobby before because I've been
very nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I think the last few weeks I've had some Death Guard models sitting here. So I finally finished off the commission I was working on. Had a couple of Predators like this.
Did you sponge the rust on the corners there, or did you just do it by hand?
Sponge and hand.
Nice.
So I usually go in with a sponge initially, and then come back and pick out, like, accentuate some extra areas.
I still love this paint scheme. I love the cream. The cream with the green is such a nice paint scheme.
Yeah.
Takes weathering really well too, which is good for that chapter.
It does, yeah, for sure. And all of this was the Ruddy Terra, sort of thinned down a bit.
Nice.
It's painted on here and there, but yeah.
I like those. Are those Damios pattern? What is that pattern of Predator? Those are cool.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, Demos pattern, I think.
Demos, is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, looks good. And of course, they painted up some Trench Crusade stuff.
That's some Emperor's Children stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Little pink, gold, and black.
Is that the demonic faction, like the kind of the more devil guys?
No, these are not. These are one of the good guy factions.
So okay.
This is for the Sultanate.
Right. Yeah.
The Sultanate are all they have a lot of they have alchemists who are working on various alchemical concoctions, and they also do a lot of sort of gene splicing and sort of manufacturing of these large crazy beasts.
Oh, nice.
So
all
right, that sort of stretched and tortured skin.
Mm-hmm.
But
Definitely do have that kind of Slanesh vibe to him, though. You're right, Jake.
For sure.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good guys, Slanesh, though, somehow.
Are they? Okay.
I mean, that's what Dave keeps saying.
For sure. It's all the good guys. But yeah, so I'm happy with how those come out. I've got a bunch more Sultanate stuff that I'm working on.
Neat.
Pardon me. Okay, and I think that takes us right into John Shaffer. It does.
Look at that. That's a first frame.
So we're gonna talk about some Necromunda. John Shaffer. You've been a big fan of Necromunda for a long time?
Yeah, big time. I would argue that Necromunda was the game that got me kind of into the gaming industry in a weird way. I kind of like had this lapse like when I was growing up of really being into Games Workshop games, and then I kind of fell out of it in high school, and then I met up with some old friends in college when I was studying graphic design, and we started up a Necromunda campaign, and that just like solidified like what I wanted to do, and that was work in the gaming industry and do like graphic design and art for a gaming company. And it has a special place in my heart, and I've always loved that game. I think it's like the best Games Workshop game to like tell stories and get your buddies together and just have a great time. I really, really like it.
Cool. Awesome. And you are going to be running the Necromunda stuff at Adepticon?
Correct. Yeah. I've run it for since we came back from the pandemic. So I think this is like the 4th year. I can't remember.
Yeah. So 2022, 23, 24. This will be the 4th year.
Yeah, 4th year. I'll be running events on Friday and Saturday. We're trying a little bit of a different format this year. It's a little bit more of an open-ended schedule in which we're going to be open over a long period of time, and you can kind of play as many or as few games as you want to over the course of the day. And we're going to do some not just like standard kind of 2-player games, but also multiplayer games, more narrative stuff. It's kind of like an arbitrated scenario where myself or other members of the staff will kind of like run players through a multiplayer game, and just really kind of do some wacky and fun stuff.
Nice. Excellent. Sean Gleason has joined us, and he said, I did Necromunda last year.
Nice.
Excellent. Did you enjoy yourself, Sean? Or was John a terrible event organizer?
I know.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, put me on blast. It's rough.
John is very definitely not a terrible event organizer.
I love running events for people. I think it's one of my favorite things in the hobby. It's just real rewarding to like put together a bunch of terrain and like a theme, and I don't know, just get people excited to play games that they might not have an opportunity to do at home or with their local groups. So yeah, it's I love it. I think it's the best thing to do with your hobby time.
Excellent. No, that's cool. Sorry, I just noticed a comment in the chat from I Was Raised a Poor Orc Child, which is a fantastic screen name. Are these just STLs or actual product or both? They are STLs, purely STLs. But there is also, I know that there's a merchant level pledge, like tier level. So if you have a store nearby you that does 3D printing, or if you know somebody who has the 3D printer, they can buy the merchant level, and they're allowed to sell printed versions. So sell physical versions once they have that license. So that is available as well. Awesome. And Sean Gleason said, Necromunda was great, John Shaffer.
Oh,
yes. Excellent. So we've got a few photos of some terrain that you've worked on over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the wild? Is this the hemotrope reactor, or is this the plasma reactor?
Yeah. So this first batch of terrain was stuff that was built by other members of Spray Team, and I just kind of took it home with me to paint it. And then I've over the years used these pieces usually as like center pieces for specific scenarios. Okay. Kind of depending on which table you're playing on. I think there's like 3 or 4 of these. Yeah, and this was like a double hemotrope reactor.
That's awesome.
With whatever the vertical things are called, whatever the coffee cans, whatever those pieces are. They got some funky Sector Mechanicus name.
Okay. Oh, there's like the galvanic forge, or
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I can't remember them all.
I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy in the back office at GW where they're like, we need a name for this, and he's like, what faction is it? You're like, oh, it's Khorne. It's like, oh god, it'll be Skullblood something.
Yeah, I feel like they have like a whole chart they just throw darts at with adjectives and nouns and.
Like, but all the Necromunda stuff, like it's like there's the thermic. It's like either thermic or galvanic or plasmic. Like it's always some sort of energy descriptor, then a shape or a platform of some kind.
Excellent. Yeah, I think my favorite core name would be Grassy Skull Blood Doom.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Those are great. That's the Ash Waste like hab things.
Yeah, so this was the next year when Ash Waste stuff came out. Hank was nice enough to send me a set of the Ash Waste box set early, and I worked out some color schemes on that stuff, and then just did it like 20 more times on a bunch more habs. And we also tried out. You kind of notice those ones in the foreground. He had these really cool, like 2-part expanding foam rocks. And we were kind of like messing around with different potential things that we could do for 40K terrain. And I was like, I'll try out some variations of it. So yeah, just kind of sunk some habs into the middle of them. And yeah, they're really nice on the table because they block a lot of line of sight and they kind of break up the look of the tables. I think I might make some more of them at some point.
I really like their the Cargo 8 like hauler thing. I think so much of the terrain for Necromunda is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great. It's the more you work with it too, you really start to appreciate the kind of like standardized increments and measurements they use in a lot of things. You can usually pair them up with other parts, or like they're kind of divisible by other parts to make things marry up pretty well. So they're great for just kit bashing and putting things together for sure.
Yeah. Josh says Coffee Canicus Pseudoscientificus.
Yes.
Yep,
that's the one you were thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
But Jez Hunt says Necromunda has the best mini range. 40K is blatantly tightly controlled, but the Necromunda designer is just having a blast making crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about Necromunda and that model range in particular is that it delves into the minutia. It's like all the weird corner case things that wouldn't normally be part of like a militaristic organization, you know, like fencers and sloppers and like all these other just kind of like weird people that have like a kind of almost a real world criminal analog a lot of times. And it's it's just evocative and fun to paint them and incorporate those kind of units into the game too. I think it's very cool.
Now I feel like Necromunda is all the stuff that was in the Rogue Trader handbook, the rule book, that they didn't know how to put into 40K.
Yeah. Feels that way. Yeah, a lot of times.
I think a lot of it is. And Andy Hoare is a huge fan of Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
And he's sort of the guy in charge of Necromunda.
Mm-hmm.
But where do we go next? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's another shot of those kind of hab bits. Now the rocks were pretty cool to use, and I used like a 2-part like tile sanded tile grout. I just got like a black version of that stuff, and I used that to fill it in. And you could cut those rocks with just like a coping saw or like a hand saw, and it wasn't too bad, but it kind of made a terrible mess. So it's like that's kind of the one thing that holds me back a little bit about whatever they used for that 2-part expanding foam stuff was like just really messy and kind of like, I don't know, chemically and weird. So that would be like the one thing that I kind of hesitate on. But yeah, just using like filler and stuff to like kind of blend it all in there. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah. No, they look great. Big fan. And the crazy stronghold is the next one.
Yeah, that's 2 of the gang stronghold kits kind of mashed together, and we use that for. So what I've done for Necromunda most years is we have kind of 2 sides. You've got the side of law and order and the side of chaos and criminality, whatever you want to call it. And those two sides, they fight against one another. And last year, what we did is we had one side that was kind of aligned with Lady Hera, which is one of the main characters in the storyline, who's kind of like the symbol of like the oppressive force of the ruling class. And then Lady Credo, who is kind of like the rebellion leader. She's kind of like started up this entire rebellion amongst all the people. So in the culminating part at the very end of that, we kind of pitted the two sides against one another, and we had Lady Credo and Lady Hera, and you were kind of like fighting together, trying to breach the stronghold. And over the course of the day, depending on how the players did, that determined who was actually in the stronghold on defense, whether it was one side or the other.
All you need is a school bus with metal plates on it, and you can have like the Grand Humongous driving around this thing, and you can just block the gate with the.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Dave recognizes this. This is from that that historical Australian documentary about
Mad Max 2.
Yeah.
Also known over here as Road Warrior. Yeah.
About surviving the Depression.
Exactly.
That was just the 70s in Australia.
I was going to say it's just Tuesday. But
just another day.
Just walk away.
Walk away, I spare your life.
Dave is the little kid with the boomerang that's in that movie.
It's true. It's true. I still have all my fingers.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Next up.
This kind of shows a standard layout for one of the tables. So we painted I think about 12 tables worth of Sector Mechanicus / Zone Mortalis terrain, the kind of standard stuff that came out in the Dark Uprising box set. So this kind of shows like the density of that we have on most of the standard like 3x3 tables, and kind of like a traditional layout. So it's a lot of terrain that goes into Necromunda for sure.
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's I love being able to play a game on that where it's your guys can go wherever you want to. It's like you're not really, tied down by like weird squad mechanics or like these big giant bases or vehicles or things. And it's I feel like out of all the GW games, Necromunda really takes advantage of the terrain in a cool way, I think.
Is that one of the 3x4 mats from Table War?
No, those were made by Mark Rayleigh. He designed them for Adepticon, and they sold them in the web store. I don't think they have any more currently in stock, but I talk to Hank every year. If there's enough demand for it, maybe we'll put them back in the store again. Who knows?
Those are sick.
But yeah, I think that's 3x3 though, isn't it?
Yeah, those are 3x3 mats. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's just the way the photo is. It looks longer. Yeah. It looks longer this way towards us.
No, they're all square. Yeah, all the tables are square in Necromunda.
Yeah, these ones are really nice as well because they've got a stitched edge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which it looked really good.
Yeah, they're great. They're like a nice kind of subdued color. I like the Mark did a great job on the art, and then plus the printing on it is it looks good. It makes the terrain pop out in a good way.
Yeah. So question for you, John. I know that when I used to play Necromunda in 95, 96, we spent a lot of time above the floor level, above the ground level. I haven't played a lot of the new Necromunda, but when people are faced with a table like this, do they spend a lot of time climbing those stairs, getting to those platforms?
I think it kind of depends on what game you're playing sometimes, because in Necromunda, there's a mechanic where if you are shot close to an edge, you have to pass an initiative test, and if you fail, you will fall off to your doom potentially. So, and you take a higher strength hit depending on how far you fall. So, players that play gangs like Ironhead Prospectors, like the Space Dwarves or Goliaths or some of these others, they don't have a great initiative characteristic. So they're risking, extra damage or just potentially their fighters going out of action by like climbing some of those things. But some scenarios you have to, like there's certain ones, like there's one called Escape the Pit, where you have essentially a escape point, and it's the highest point on the board. Okay. And the walls of the table actively close in. It's almost like a Fortnite or something like that, where it's they kind of like close in as you play, and then eventually you have to escape, otherwise you guys go out of action. They get crushed in the kind of the trash compactor of the scenario.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is important. I think a lot of people definitely use it. Now, in a game like Kill Team, like higher vantage points like that are a lot more important as far as game mechanics go, but you're mostly using it here to just access different parts of the map or to get better vantage points on enemies to kind of like bypass their cover, because cover is a pretty influential part of the game. It's like influences pretty significant penalties on your chances to hit people. So any chance you can get a clear shot is a good way to go.
Right. Nice. Sean Gleason said I think I played on that board against corpse grinders and got devastated. But I did pull one off a gantry. So,
There you go. Yeah.
it's cool. And Alan said the best part of Necro 95 was blasting people off the towers. All the card terrain that came with bridges, which helped make the game very 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really like the there was kind of a random events deck in there too that was really cool. That they've kind of like they've done other versions of, but back in that original version of Necromunda, they had a lot of cards in it.
Right.
I think it was actually a chart, and then maybe some people actually made decks for it. But yeah, it was fun. There's like some really crazy results that would come up.
Yeah.
In that card deck, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, here's another shot of that terrain.
Yeah, and that shows kind of one of the centerpieces that we have for one of the tables. I think that one in particular, there's a mission where you had to bring bombs in. So one side had a bunch of bombs, and they had to get it to those reactors and detonate them.
Okay.
Before the end of the game.
Nice.
It almost looks like you don't need to measure if the mat, you know what I mean? Like, which is probably great because like all the terrain is basically a square that looks like it's 2x2. So you're like, oh, cool, I know where I am. Like, I don't need to measure.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they're exactly 2-inch increments or not. I'd expect Mark really to make them slightly off just to mess with people, probably.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like it.
Yeah.
But that's cool. It's amazing as well. I can recognize that on this table there's so you got Gene Stealer Cult. So you've got an aberrant.
Oh yeah, that little hunched guy down in the shadows in the middle of the frame. Yeah.
And then back up here, sort of behind some cover or up on a gantry, are some of the cultists.
Mm-hmm.
Cultists. But yeah. Neat. Excellent. Okay, so this long line of tables.
Yeah, so that's one of the two rows of tables that we had that year. I think on this far end that's closest to us, that was some of the terrain that we used in the setup for that. I think we pushed those two tables together. This one that's closest to us and the next one.
Okay.
For that final game that we had at the end, which we also played another night that wasn't an event night.
Yeah.
I think Dave, you played in it, and some other folks.
Yeah,
too.
we got some photos of that right at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. No, cool. So this some of this terrain, this is some MDF terrain. Is that right?
Some of that stuff was, yeah. That stuff was provided. Brian Saab, I think, gave it to me to use and for the event, and then also for the thing that we ran that night. So I don't think that stuff in particular is part of the standard AdeptiCon terrain, but every year I kind of rotate in some tables. So we kind of have like a standard, maybe about 8 tables that we use, and then usually about 6 or 5, depending on however many we want. We bring new ones every year. So,
right.
And this year we've got some new ones for sure that we're bringing up.
Excellent. So this one here is not at Adepticon.
Correct. Yeah, that was at Ash Waste Weekend, which is an event that happens in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And Joe Stromain, a number of other folks there run that event. It's great, super fun. Happens in November every year. And yeah, this is a table setup that we used at that. And this kind of shows one of the Ash Waste tables. This is one of my personal tables that I will bring to the event. So this one, and I think there's another one in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like kind of non-conventional terrain. And this one in particular is also used. We have a convoy raid scenario that we use a Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler and has like a bunch of other trailers. I think we have some other pics of that.
Yep.
We'll run that as a multiplayer game. Yeah, there you go. That's a shot of the game in progress from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was a hoot. It was really fun. So there's essentially a big Ridge Hauler in the center of the board. All players are essentially trying to attack the couplings on the tanks of gas that are back behind it, and they can knock those things off and then claim them as objectives. But what's kind of wild about this scenario is that the table is set up in 4 4-foot by 2-foot sections. And if you've ever played the game Thunder Road, you know how that game progresses, and you drop the last section, and then you move it to the end, and then you drop it down on the end of the table. It's kind of set up that way, and then people that are at the end of the table or whatever just get knocked off the
they get left behind. That's awesome.
And then you can set like another section that you kind of put down at the end of the board. You can set up ambushers and stuff in there, and they can kind of like jump down onto the convoy train, and that's how it almost got destroyed in that previous year is that a Goliath player brought a bunch of Goliaths and they jumped down on top of it and started attacking the thing like a bunch of crazies.
Yeah. Oops. Ah, there we go. Sorry, I thought I had more for this.
I like the orc truck in there too.
Yeah, everybody bought a bunch of really crazy stuff.
No.
I see.
That's what's great about Necromunda is that it's a format that allows multiplayer play because it's kind of an initiative alternating activation system. So a lot of people can get into a game without causing a lot of problems or forcing people into teams. It has a bunch of stats involved in it that lets you kind of do more role play stuff like intelligence and willpower and intelligence and cool and stuff like that.
That guy showed up to play Gorka Morka, and you were like, "You can play."
Yeah, it's like fine, that's cool, dude. It's all good.
I was having a chat with somebody about Gorka Morka just this weekend.
Dude, was it? And then when they put out the was it the Digging Knobs expansion where you're like, oh, we're a bunch of humans that paint ourselves green.
Yeah, that was wild, crazy stuff. I love the Seekers back in the day too. They had like these muty raider guys.
Yep,
there were a bunch of mutants, and they had all this like cool lost technology. I feel like they're kind of the precursors to the Ash Waste Nomads that we have now. In Necromunda, they seem very similar in how they were set up, kind of like they're riding these mutant horses and stuff. But yeah, they were very cool.
I think so. But yeah, that's cool. I just really feeling bad for the person who's got this vehicle pointing like here down the front of the picture.
Oh, down in the lower portion right there.
Yeah.
Oh, don't feel so bad for them. That's another cargo weight ridge hauler, and I think they use that thing to drop whoever that guy is on the back. He was all tooled up. He was like pretty much a personal delivery system for that guy on the back there that wrecked a bunch of havoc. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about him.
I was just like they need to turn that and face it the other direction, otherwise it's going to drop off the board pretty soon. But
yeah,
if they did get if they delivered Rictus Erectus to the ridge hauler,
right,
to throw people off it.
Yeah, so we'll run a bunch of kind of wild multiplayer games. Like this year, I'll have some other people helping me out run stuff. So I'm excited to see how the format will be. It's kind of more freeform, kind of more hangout time, and hopefully more flexible for people and their schedules to go out and do all the stuff they want to do at AdeptiCon.
Yeah, excellent. That's cool. What did you make the road out of?
That I had a sheet of plastic card, a whole bunch of sheets of those, and those are actually from a dental supply place. I think they used them for X-rays or something like that. But I bought them in bulk, and they are 6 inches by 4 or 5. And then the bottom sides of those are from the modular movement trays.
Okay, yeah.
They're like the rails that go on those modular movement tray sections. And I just flipped them upside down, and that kind of puts them at a 45 degree, and that made the rails for it. And then just sand over top of it. I kind of scuffed the surface first of the plastic card with some sandpaper so the glue would stick better. That's about it.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say these looked like the rails from the movement tray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I made a couple spacers in there, which you see in the very far right-hand corner, that kind of like rusty square.
Okay, here
at the end of the road, and those are just things to spread out the sections so that they marry to the very edges of the sections of the road. Okay. Because those also have to come up with the table when you move down to the next section. So they just have clean breaks at every 2-foot section that way.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Excellent. I do love fun stuff like that. And Jake and I have talked quite a bit over the years about the like the rolling road games.
Yeah, it's anytime you have like kind of a conveyor belt board, it's just like that's just awesome. You're like, okay, so not only do I have to win the game, I have to be paying attention to where I am because this is all going to reset at a certain point. So
yeah, totally. It's I'm really intrigued by that concept, and like I've been kind of exploring it with not only this table but like a dungeon crawl thing for Necromunda, and then I'm also planning like the next thing, maybe for next year, I want to do like a dwarven, like subterranean cavern kind of table setup where you've got sections of the cavern that you just add to the end of it as you progress through it in like a dungeon crawl, and you like
Right.
You have like an elevator involved. I don't know. I have all these ideas for it, but it's
you could definitely use this same thing where, and I think it'd be really fun to have like a multiplayer game where you're like, so like the Hive fleet has invaded, and you're trying to like get to the starport kind of thing. So it's like you have to kind of pick and choose, like, who do we leave behind, like, to hold off this horde so that we can get to the place. Like, that'd be really fun to do something like that.
That would be cool.
You'd have ambushers, like you'd have like lictors and stuff popping up in front of you. While you have this onrushing horde of gaunts and gene stealers that are
it'd be very cool to have that in like a really narrow corridor, and you had like this bulwark of like defenders to like protect it and keep people from getting in there and stuff.
That'd be so cool. Like, you could do this concept with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So it's anyway, I like that idea of a scrolling battlefield, and like, just kind of like adding more, just kind of like a fog of war, and like revealing things as you play. And that sounds like a cool thing to pursue. So I'm gonna do some more stuff for that.
Yeah, excellent. At AdeptiCon, John, we should talk about it, how it might work. That sort of thing might work for a Gaslands game. I'd love to do a Fury Road kind of approach.
Yeah, for sure.
Through the canyons.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Reach. Okay, and we already previewed this because my fingers are fat and clumsy.
Oh yeah, this was a great time. This is not my stuff. This is Kevin Fowler, who is a writer at Goonhammer and has come to my events pretty much, I think, since we came back. He came up with this crazy whale hunt scenario where he 3D printed a wild whale and like some tugboats and stuff, and then we all bought a bunch of gangers, and they had guys on jet skis with like demo charges, and everybody had harpoon guns. And we were hunting this big giant zombie whale on the sumps, and it was a riot. It was super fun.
I love in this photo so you get the tail slap.
Yeah, for sure. So I think he had 3, maybe 4 different versions of it, depending on its behavior. So it was either like breaching, in which it would like come out from underneath you and it could capsize your boat, or it was rushing straight towards you, or it was like going back under the water, in which it would like tail slap sections. So we kind of made all these different versions depending on its current behavior as you moved around. And
that's awesome. Like, which
was great. It was super cool. And then eventually, like, you would use your guys.
Please tell me you were blasting like Mastodon's like Blood and Thunder from Leviathan the whole time, because like
no, we were like in with a bunch of other people. It'd be sweet if we could have, but we were kind of like in the middle of the hall. This was like at the after hours one night after we finished up, because like a bunch of my other friends are also running Adeptus Mechanicus stuff and Titanicus stuff in the same. I'm sorry, Titanicus and Imperialis stuff in the same room, and they're also Necromunda fans. So Kevin was like, "Yeah, I brought this crazy thing. Do you guys want to play it?" And you're like, "Oh, of course we do." So
what's the big chonky thing? It looks like a dreadnought on the middle boat.
Oh yeah, that's Mark Rayleigh's squat prospector.
Oh, it's the battle
thriller thing. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it's their brute, their big heavy guy.
Yeah, it's like an Exocon driller or something like that.
I think so. Yeah, it's something like Exo. I think Exokin is in the name because that's what they used for the all their like big mining suits.
Yeah, dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it was a killer time. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
It that in fact inspired Mark Rayleigh to build like a crazy sump table board for a hangout that we had, where we had like a big regatta, and awesome. It's like you just can't do that sort of stuff in any other game that I can think of, and it's great because of that.
Yeah, it is that thing where obviously you could create a game that's going to do that, but when you've got a system that can work for all of these different scenarios.
Yeah, totally. And it's pretty well thought out, and like you can kind of pick and choose different mechanics from other things and kind of mash them together and tell the stories you really want to.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Excellent. Some great boat-based jokes going on in the chat.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there
are. Fantastic. Next up.
Yeah, so that's a table that I'm going to bring to the event, and that is since then I've added a bunch more terrain to it, a bunch more corridors and stuff to it. But that thing is set up on a bunch of tiles, and I have made a scenario that is a dungeon crawl for scenario, a dungeon crawl for Necromunda where you essentially explore different tiles, and then I have like a system of cards kind of set up into a grid. You come down in a specific elevator, and you're trying to find the elevator that'll take you to the next floor. And then, there's like a bunch of different things you can kind of discover, treasure and stuff you can get out of it. And it's throughout the whole thing. There's it kind of has like a coordinate theme. So there's the theme of this year is there's like a big massive fighting pit, and then underneath it there is the ruins of a spaceship essentially, and they've kind of formed a labyrinth underneath there where they kind of train all of the gladiators for the fighting pit, but it kind of has a more nefarious and kind of like insidious underside to it, and there's kind of like chaos cults and stuff underneath there, but there's essentially like a big coordinate labyrinth underneath the fighting pits, which this table is going to represent. And there's eventually like a minotaur that will chase you through the labyrinth and kind of push you through the whole thing. And yes, it's a kind of a wild scenario, but I'm excited to run people through it.
Are the yellow things, are those doors or are they force fields?
Those are doors. Yeah,
Okay.
those are the standard doors for that kit and how it's all set up.
Excellent. Brendan Bell says, having played that game, it's awesome. You get to make choices that impact the game as you go. Yeah,
for sure. You got to kind of choose which route you want to go, and kind of the tension builds as you play through it. There's kind of like this rage meter that's prevalent throughout the whole thing, in which eventually like you start to kind of lose control of some of your characters, and they might turn on some other guys. And yeah, it kind of escalates as it goes, and eventually it kind of reaches this fevered pitch as you're running for your life against a big, massive, lumbering minotaur chasing you down the hallway.
Yeah,
nice.
I think speaking of minotaur.
Oh, dude, that's great.
Yeah, it's he's made out of that Korgorath.
Yeah, it's the Korgorath, and that's a Juggernaut head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Juggernaut head, and then the talons are from Hell Talon.
Dude, that is amazing.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
He was like Hell Talon, like the plane, the Hell Talon.
Yeah.
It has the pterodactyl claws.
Not Helldrake, not Hell Talon. Hell Talon's the 4-tool one, right?
Yeah.
That's the guy.
But cool. I didn't realize, like, I think like when those claws are on the plane, they look tiny, but when they're on
when they're on a dude, they're massive.
Yeah, I thought maybe they were from the Spyro kit, like the Aurus Spyro, but
no, they're quite a bit bigger than that. Those things are pretty massive. I mean, that's a dreadnought base, so that guy's pretty big.
His feet are so weird.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird hoof clump. That whole model is super bizarre. Yeah. I didn't really like the original one very much. I like this one better.
All right. I think the having the skulls.
Yeah, he's got a weird skin condition.
Floating in the skin.
That part I like. I like that aspect, like the kind of like skulls like busting out and everything. But I feel like some of his like little appendages and details and stuff were like, I don't know, they just didn't really feel like integrated very well. Kind of spindly, weird tremor snake mouth things, and I don't know.
Okay. For a second there, this skull that's hanging from his horn.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was actually.
I thought it was on his chest.
I thought it was coming out of his chest. Yeah.
Oh, like a weird skull nipple ring thing.
No, that skull is fully decorative.
A skull snake kind of thing. Yeah. But he looks great. Have you started painting him?
He's finished. Yeah, I actually already finished him. I can send you a picture. I'll put something on the Facebook page.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. We'd love to see that.
Josh said he needs a Snickers. Marnius Calgar isn't himself when he gets hungry.
That's true. That's so true.
But he looks great, John.
Thanks.
Nice.
That model's sweet.
So he's going to be rampaging through those corridors.
Yeah, and I painted a whole gaggle of other corn maniacs to go with it all. So it's some of those I posted previously. So this has been like a project that kind of started last summer. And I just kind of want to make this weird corn dungeon crawl thing, and then it kind of turned into something I'm going to run at AdeptiCon. So
you know what I think would fit in really good with like the Minotaur corn vibe? If you like scratch built some corn gores, like if you did the like if you the old ones with the big axes and the heavy armor, like if you did like a bunch of weird goat bull dudes with axes, that'd be pretty.
That would be super cool. I do have as part of the collection of the baddies in there, I have the Blackstone Fortress Beastmen.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Which are very good. And then I have also assembled a whole bunch of the Felgrath Ravagers, whatever the kill team guys are.
Felgrath Ravagers. Yep.
Yeah. So I'll probably paint those as well. Just do a double duty for kill team and Necromunda.
So a buddy of mine is making, obviously with all the guard stuff now coming out, he picked up the Krieger box, and a buddy of mine is waiting, and he wants to do like an old school guard army, and I keep pushing him. I'm like, dude, you got to do a squad. You got to do an assault squad and make them all beastmen and have like one human officer with them.
Dude, that'd be so cool. I'd love that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Nice. These guys, what's going on?
Oh, that's a whole bunch of cops. That's a lot of enforcers, and I use the enforcers on some scenarios. They're used in the fighting pits, which we'll get to here in a second. They're going to be stationed around the arena. Also, I brought those. I will bring those to AdeptiCon, so players that didn't bring any force can run through that corn dungeon crawl thing with preset teams of enforcers.
Okay,
nice. Dude, that APC is sick.
Hey, it's cool. So that is it's a Buzz Lightyear toy. That's
amazing.
In the Necromunda circles, it has been used a lot. I think somebody posted it online. It might have been a Goonhammer article. I can't remember. But you can get that toy online for like $10, sometimes like $7. I think I paid $7 for it. And then they also, if you look, it's an article online at Goonhammer, and they those guys are awesome because they put up a bunch of STL files for armor plates that cover up some of the walls and put the vision slits on the sides and some of that stuff. And then the excess parts are all just GW plastic kit parts, and then the guns are from the Venator kit that's down below it, the little dune buggy guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that. I love their enforcer bot. It looks like one of the ABC robots from Judge Dredd.
Mm-hmm.
Which is intentional. The whole point of these guys is they're Judge Dredd. Like,
yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally. But I really like those particular models. I like the regular Necromunda enforcers too, but these ones, something about them I just really liked, and I wanted to paint them in a lighter color scheme. So
these are what it's the Palanite enforcers and the Palanite. There's two different boxes. I forget what the other one's called.
Subjugators.
Yeah.
Subjugators. But are these are the arbitrators? Yeah.
They're the exaction squad from
the exaction squad. Yeah.
Again, I play a fair amount of kill team, so a lot of these projects are also double duty that I can play them in kill team as well.
Cool. I don't know. Did I space out? Did you mention the bikes?
Oh no, I didn't. So yeah, those are 3D prints from Print Minis, I believe, and then I modified those with some exaction squad parts. And you guys remember the show Chips back in the day?
Oh,
yeah. Enough. You recall that? Eric
Is
Estrada,
John?
Other guy? Yeah.
Yep.
Is it Poncho John? Is that who you got there?
Poncho John, yeah, 100%. So that's yeah, I wanted to make those guys, and they're for I used most of the vehicle stuff for that convoy raid. I used different stuff last time I ran it, but this year I'm going to run cops in there. So if it gets really bad, the cops come in to try to bust heads.
Dun, 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 dun.
Nice. Awesome.
That's great.
Cool. Okay. Dave Hummel said, "Ooh, what's the truck from?" I'll be right back.
Buzz Lightyear. They're neon green in color.
Yep.
It's a Buzz Lightyear toy of some sort. I can't remember. There's a couple different ones from that line actually that are about the right scale for 40K.
Dude, it's almost perfect. I mean, it's the right size. Like everything lines up. The door's the right size.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you were able to put one of the old tank cow catchers on the front of it and it fits perfect there is just great.
Yeah, it works great. I will say those little armor panels really add a lot to it for the little vision slits and stuff as far as the details and covering up some of the standard windows that are on that kit. But yeah, if you look up that Goonhammer article, those guys did a great job and did a whole bunch of different variations and off that same model kit.
Are you going to paint this up to look like the A-Team van? You're going to do all black with a red stripe?
Nope. Nah, I'll leave that. That's pretty much the base coat color and airbrushing for that. A-Team thing, I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that theme or not. Maybe at some point. I feel like it's done, you know.
There's a kid at my store who plays Star Wars Legion. So he has a bunch of the hover trucks.
He has the truck, yeah.
And so he has 3 of them. So he has one and it's painted to look like Ecto-1, like the Ghostbusters car.
Nice.
And then he has one that's painted up to look like the A-Team van.
Mm-hmm.
And then the new one he's going to paint it to look like the Mystery Machine.
Yep. Excellent.
That's awesome. Oh, you just mentioned a good one. There's a spaceship in that same Buzz Lightyear toy line that is a great transport for 40K stuff. Like if you're looking for like a cheap equivalent of an Arvis lighter or something like that, it's very cool.
Yeah. Nice. Sean said you should try finding a Mad Max police cruiser.
Ooh.
Are you talking about one of the V6 cruisers or the V8 Interceptor? Because like, let's be real.
I think actually they're all in that V8 range, but the XB Falcon,
Nice.
like a 73 XB Falcon. We'll find that. Excellent.
And that is the arena. It kind of shows what's going on there. So it's built out of like 4 wall sections, and that section on the far end, that kind of like half dome thing, is
Gladiator entrance.
That's supposed to be, yeah, it's a gladiator entrance. It's also supposed to represent like the engine from the crashed spaceship as far as like the lore and storyline goes.
That's
and
awesome.
then like the black walls that are back behind it, I haven't quite sorted out exactly how that's going to work, but those are 3D printed parts that are kind of like the fuselage of an engine or outside of a plane or something like that.
Okay.
And I'm going to build those up to be that section of the walls. And then the rest of it was pretty much like built by the guilds around a rock formation. That's
awesome.
Yeah, and because I have like that kind of like Minotaur thing in there, I wanted to use that Beastman totem piece in the center. So I think I'm going to tech that up
a herdstone.
Yeah, that little herdstone piece in there. I kind of have that, and then it matches the rocks. You see like those large black rocks in between the wall sections.
Yeah,
those are also 3D prints from a Stone Trove. It was like a STL campaign online, but yeah, I'll paint all that stuff to match those and how those are all set up.
Yeah.
Sick.
Great. I think we've got some detailed shots. So
yeah, those that shows kind of the back of like the main like section for like the rich folks, I guess, like the posh seating.
Right.
I think what I might wind up doing, I don't know, I'm a glutton for more work, I guess, right now, but what I've been thinking about doing is like see how it has like that tall column in the very center of it. So that's supposed to be like where the emperor equivalent would sit, right? Like whoever, like the like the leader of the whole bad guy thing. Yep. So that would be where he'd be stationed. But I've been thinking about have like another really tall one of those rock spires, and I want to build a landing pad and then put an Arvis lighter up on top of that. So he would like fly in and then just walk down into like his little cupola, and then whenever the games are over, he'd just fly away, right?
Right.
But I want to make that as part of a scenario objective in one of the scenarios where you just do the time-honored like escape the arena, like now's our chance to rebel against our oppressors kind of thing, and maybe under the context of like there's a terrible warp storm that's going to kill everybody, and the only way to get out is to get this Arvis lighter. So
it's halfway between Spartacus and like catching the last helicopter out of sight.
Yeah. So there's kind of like this like revolt of like the arena participants, and they fight against their oppressors to try to get off of this thing before the whole place goes to crap.
Dude, that's awesome.
It'd be fun, yeah. It'd be cool, right? So it's like that'd be a cool scenario to do. So yeah, maybe I will find time to paint that stuff too.
Fantastic. So yeah, that's the shot of that set up from the front. Very cool.
Yeah, that's one of the wall sections there. So I have those big tanks there, and then you'll notice at the very base of the watchtower thing, there's an inlet for a pipe. So I'm going to add an extra pipe onto the end there. And then for the arena, how that's set up. So I have those arena tiles, and you see that there is like those large grates in there.
Right.
So there's 12 of those. And then as the arena games progress, the idea is that there is promethium being pumped underneath the floors, and they will just send up gouts of flame randomly throughout those grates as you're fighting other enemies. So I'll just roll a d12, and then that'll tell me which grate will have like a flame plume and like traps and stuff that'll like pop up. And yeah, it's like part of the arena. I want it to be kind of dangerous and have all sorts of crazy stuff that happens as you play through it. So
yeah,
it's like the Flash Gordon, like the pivoting fighting platform with the random spikes that keep coming up.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like at that, I mentioned before that Ash Waste weekend. one of the guys there, Peter, he brought an arena table kind of like this, but he had like a whole grid set up and he made a bunch of these like crazy random traps. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I loved it. So I just blatantly stole the idea. So
awesome. I was thinking more like Robot Wars.
Oh yeah.
Same sort of thing.
Apparently Dave went online and just ordered that Buzz Lightyear toy.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, get yourself one, man. They're great. They're super cool.
And Josh says, John, I'm trying to spend less and hobby more. You're not helping.
I know, man. It's infectious. Like this is what like every year at the end of the AdeptiCon, or like usually the drive back with friends or something. It's like always one of my favorite times because you're always just like brainstorming about the cool stuff you saw and what you got inspired by, and you just start to map out like your next year of hobby stuff. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Excellent.
Even before AdeptiCon happens, I'm like doing it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, wow! Does Google have my number or what? I literally just Googled Buzz Lightyear toy truck, and it popped up with the actual item, and then it also has the article you were talking about, Goonhammer, like side by side.
Oh, yeah.
Is this what you're looking for? Here's what you're looking for. And I was like, cool, thanks,
Yep.
Google.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say, and then the third thing was a notification saying that Dave Hummel has just purchased one of them. Awesome. And Jez says smoke venting from that would mess up line of sight.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Yeah, I think players could maybe play around that. So I don't know if I'll make. I was thinking about just making like little solid flame jets out of I don't know, putty or something, or maybe STLs. Or I could just make like the traditional like smoke plumes, which is also interesting because that could block line of sight for the people in the arena from the enforcers on around the outside that might shoot them if they did something bad. So
it reminds me of the really terrible Planet of the Apes movie with Mark Wahlberg, where he finds the ship at the end and it's like embedded in the ground and it just like blows all that dust and fire out and like knocks the army away.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Literally, it's really similar. So
I didn't see that. I'll have to check it out. It sounds like a watch this weekend.
Excellent. And Patrick Heath said, I just put that truck in my Amazon wish list.
What's
how much does it cost now? My guess is it's $9.
It is. I see. So Toy Wiz has it for $25.64.
No way.
Nobody else has it. A bunch of people have the smaller one because there's two. There's one that's like a pickup truck, and then there's one that's like the bus.
The bus, yeah, it's neon green is the one that I got.
The bus is like $25 or $26.
No way! Wow. I think I bought mine off of Amazon, and it had to be $8. I think it was like $7 or $8.
Patrick said his the one that he's got in his wish list is 18. So.
Oh man, yep, they're catching on.
There we go. Yep. Nice. Cool. And
whoa, what's up with that guy's head on the left? Something's not right.
I think this is a picture that Brendan sent to me, like a panoramic thing. So it did a weird thing to some people.
It's like an AI shot. You're like, hey, AI.
They like fused the tables together. But this shows the setup that we did for our group game, which was the Lady Hera versus Lady Credo assault on the stronghold, which you can see kind of like in the upper central part there. That's where the stronghold.
Oh, this was at AdeptiCon last year, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Dave played in it, and Dave painted Lady Hera and her bodyguards. Yeah. And
I think I came by and I was talking to you guys while this was going on.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, a bunch of us were sitting around and just shooting the breeze, so hanging out.
This is Lady Hera here.
Yeah, essentially what they had to do is get across the board and get into that stronghold, and she was trying to kill Lady Credo across the board.
Lady Credo's sort of hiding out back here.
Yeah, skulking about somewhere, I think. Eventually you guys decided to break cover and join in combat, and I can't remember who won.
Yeah.
Louise is saying that since we mentioned on the show, the price has spiked 25%.
Probably so, right? Be careful what you say these days. Keep it under wraps.
And also, Dave Hummel said it was $18 twice. Fantastic. And Brendan Bell says he was fairly confident he was not 100% sober when he took this photo.
You did a great job.
Yeah. Here's another shot there.
Chris Moore made a bunch of like really crazy like robot droids dwarven robots, I recall, which I thought
think
were super cool. Scratch built a bunch of them, which I thought were awesome.
Those are along here. They were like little mining robots, weren't they?
Yeah, they were really neat.
They didn't shoot at me, but they hit me really hard when they got in.
Yeah, they were brutal in combat, I remember.
Yeah.
Power hammers or something. I can't remember what they had.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Pretty bad.
Like,
pretty bad news.
Every time you rolled a dice, somebody died. But yeah, that was cool. And then of course the next shot is of everybody having fun. Yeah.
Look at us. Nice. Look at all of us having a great time.
It's absolutely cool. And that's John Shaffer. Thumbs up.
Yep. Yeah. No other way to do it.
Excellent.
But yeah, Necromunda is the best. It's super fun. I highly recommend you try it out if you have not.
I don't think I've played Necromunda in. I think I played back when we were at the company back in like the early 2000s, and then most recently when they released, what the hell did they call it the first time? The Shadow War Armageddon. When they put out Shadow War Armageddon, Adam Pratt and I bought it, and because they sent us an early copy, and we were like playing it, and we're both like, I was like, this feels really familiar. And Adam's like, it's Necromunda, and I was like, what? So we're looking through the rules, and I was like, what about jams? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, what about falling off the top of 7? He's like, yep. And he's like, it's literally Necromunda. And I was like, why are they releasing it as another game? And he's like, I think they wanted to see if people wanted to play Necromunda.
Yeah.
So they released this as like a single splash release. So if it was cool, they could add to it. And if it wasn't, it's a 1-box game. You don't need to do anything with it. And then within like a year of that, then they released the new Necromunda. And I was like, okay, it's just weird.
Kind of a tough evaluation because I feel like the real value of that particular box set was the scenery, because that was the first time you could get the Sector Mechanica stuff. Like I remember that's what I cared about with that box set. I bought it. I think I bought 2 of them. And yeah, so it's like using that as the means to like gauge the excitement for Necromunda might have been mistelling, because I imagine a lot of those sales were because the scenery was so cool, not necessarily for the game.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know.
And it's a weird box too, because they did the classic thing where they're like, what's that? I sent the box to Malev. Like there's he wanted it's the box that comes with a bunch of the Tyranids, and they're like gaunts. No, it's the old Gene Stealers, and then it comes with some scouts, and it's all these like tiles.
Oh, like really old? Like
yeah, it was a board game.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a board game, or I think it's called the Lost Patrol.
Lost Patrol, yeah.
Oh, and then, it's not like 1989.
No. It was newer than that.
Like
but like
Space Crusade era or whatever.
Yeah, Space Crusade was great. The scouts with the mohawks and the rocket.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. But
those guys are great.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Lost Patrol, I feel like every couple of years at that time, like from like I would say from the late 80s, early 90s until like the early 2000s, I feel like periodically somebody just went through the back, was like, what do we have extras of? We got 1 million boxes of scouts. And they're like, okay, how about what else? They're like, Gene Stealers. You're like, cool, let's make a game with Gene Stealers and scouts. And then with Shadow Armageddon, it was like, what do we have extras of? And they're like, we still have 1 million scouts. And they're like, cool, let's put some orcs in there and we'll call it Shadow Armageddon. I was like, what?
Totally.
It's
Yeah,
so
it
weird.
was bizarre. It was a weird product, but I was hyped on the terrain for sure.
But if you played it is Necromunda. Like the rules are the same.
That's cool. I actually didn't know that. I don't think I ever actually played that game.
Yeah, I didn't.
How did I think about it?
I don't think anybody played that game.
Yeah. Wild.
But that's cool. But now I'd say as well, one of the things that I love about Necromunda, I mean, we mentioned before, is that flexibility that it has.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the rule set itself, but the you can lay so many skins over the top of it.
Yeah.
And the gang structure, because there are, how many gangs are there? There's
6 main houses, and then there's Venators, Gene Stealer Cult, Squat Prospectors. I would say there's like 10, probably 11, 12, something like that.
11, 12, maybe 15.
Maybe, yeah.
There's a lot of different archetypes there that you could go, okay. If you wanted to do orcs, you could lay orcs over Goliaths, right?
Well, yeah, they just recently released a new updated Venators list, which really lets you kind of make whatever you want. Like it's great. Yeah. Have you seen that one yet, Dave? It's awesome.
I haven't had a close look at it, but Mark has mentioned it. Yeah.
It's fabulous. It's they did such a great job with it, because they put all these abhumans in there, and they made abhuman profiles for the champions. and also for the standard fighters. So you could do an entire Ratling gang. You could do all Beastmen. You could do, you know, all squats, like kind of whatever you want. It's or you can mix and match them if you wanted to. That you're talking about like doing an A team. You could do an Abhuman A team like really easily with that list. It'd be very cool.
Yeah,
like an ogre is B.A. Baracus, and you know, like a Ratling is Faceman, and you know, the human is Hannibal, and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, like, if you can mix and match, I would just do B.A. Baracus is just like Goliath. Like,
yeah, sure. Yeah, totally.
But I think that's one of the main things that makes Necromunda sort of almost the default core rule set for any sort of Inc. 28 game.
Right. Yeah, because it has the flexibility and the scalability, I think, right? And
yeah.
And also all those stats in there that let you do stuff that's not just war, you know, like intelligence.
Do they still have the weird sort of like top shelf liquor stuff with like the Spire gangers? It was like, oh, you're gonna take Spires, like you only get 2 dudes and you can only do it in certain missions, and like
they're more integrated into the game depending on how you want to play them. They kind of have like their own special version for a Secundus campaign if you're playing with the most recent release they've come out with, the most recent box set. Or you can just play them in as a standard gang if you want to, in which case you only have about 4 guys typically. If you take an Orus, the really big, beefy guys, they're like almost 400 credits out of your 1,000, so it's almost half your whole force. But the other guys are about 200 credits or so, so you take about 4 or 5 of them sometimes.
I'll have to mess around. I'll have to build a Necromunda gang. I had one a while ago. I always was a sucker for the Eschers.
They're great. Yeah, Eschers are very cool. They're very popular too. They're fun. They have like a bunch of really cool chem rules, and like they are experts in using poisons and combat drugs and stuff. They're very cool.
Yeah, I'll mess around with it. Maybe I'll throw together a Necromunda gang.
Do it. Yeah, I'll give you a game whenever. We'll be kind of, you know, in the off times when we're not running regular games and stuff. I'll have all the training stuff set up there, so I can run you through a game if you just want to learn the rules.
Nice.
Excellent. That's really cool.
Is it community miniatures time?
I think it might be. So, John, I just going to say thank you very much for talking to us about Necromunda.
Oh, glad to do it.
And also say, Jake, don't forget that while we're looking through these models, put together your list of.
Oh, I already got it. I got my 10.
Okay, cool. So we'll come back to that at the end of the community minis, and you can let Scott know what your top 10 Army Painter paints would be.
For sure.
Awesome. Excellent. Just Hunt said that was excellent. So there you go. And not just because he learned about the Buzz. I was going to say he learned about the Buzz Lightyear truck, but he might have already known. Bet you Jez already knew.
Confirmed suspicions.
Yes.
John, I have another follow-up question for you. So I know you were saying that a lot of the stuff that you've built, you can use in Kill Team, or like some of you mix and match.
Yeah.
Does it work both ways? Are there kill teams you can use in Necromunda? Like, I'm assuming all the Space Marine stuff you can't.
It's mostly a one-way street, I'd say. Like, you want to, because the war gear and identifiability of the units in Kill Team is a lot more strict. Like this guy is, you know, you probably want to build it as a Kill Team first, and then use those rules to integrate into Necromunda. And you might have to paint a few additional figures to make it all marry up correctly, because there might be a few weapon options you don't have available to you right at the very beginning of the game. So in Necromunda, you can always, in between games, go to a trading post, and then you have a lot more options for equipping your guys. But out the jump, you might not have like a heavy stubber available to you or something else that Kill Team would have, but your Necromunda gang wouldn't. So you'd have to come up with somebody to replace it. But so far, like, because I'm mostly doing arbitrated stuff, like I'm not really too worried about making them perfectly balance as like a 1,000 credit gang in Necromunda, because I'm just going to use them in arbitrated scenarios where like that doesn't matter as much, where it can kind of like scale a little bit more. So I would say design it first for Kill Team, and then port it over to Necromunda would probably be the best way if you want to try to double dip like that.
Okay.
And arbitrated scenarios being one where there's an
one other person who's not one of the sides of players actively playing in the game is, calling the shots and stuff. And like, for example, like if we were doing like that arena escape scenario, I would have a bunch of cops around the board, which I would be statted out and be equipped as per the exaction squad stuff. And then their points cost would be like, a lot more than a standard 1,000 credit gang. It might be like 1,500 credits or something like that. But it doesn't really matter because I've kind of balanced it all out through play testing to make it a fun game.
Awesome.
Okay.
Just before we go on to the community minis, I will say, just going to call out. So Steven's joined us. Hi, Steve. And Jez whistles innocently while stroking truck. He has the truck. Awesome.
Now I feel like I need to find mine, like a villain with like a cat. Like slowly. Hold on, I can find it. It's around here somewhere.
That'd be fantastic. Awesome. While you're looking for it, I will get you ready to present the next. Bang. And Josh says, "Oh, you mean the GM?" Yes.
I found it.
Definitely.
Here it is. Right here. I'm just sit here.
Dude, that's so funny.
Just casually caress it. I could do that, or I could also do this one. This is the next project. This is my next vehicle project, which is a termite.
Oh, nice.
From a dwarfs.
Very cool.
Very cool. I always loved that kit.
The termite, yeah, it's cool. Kind of a pain in the butt to put together, but it was
It's like a skinny drop pod.
yeah, for sure.
It assembles like very similarly to a skinny drop pod.
Mm-hmm.
No. Excellent. Okay, so community minis. I think we've got quite a few tonight, so let's jump in. Alan Borthwick, showing off this this bust.
That's the Steam Katir.
The which?
The Steam Katir. She's like the Rocketeer, but it's steam powered.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think he's done a fantastic job. I think Alan might have said that this was his first bust that he painted.
It's great. I love those lenses. Those are really nice.
Yeah, awesome job. Those, the lenses are super special. I love the work on
a lot of the finishes on the metal look great too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the cap, the leather cap. Looks awesome too. Nice. Great work there, Alan. She looks awesome. Very nice. Next up, Alan has also painted up in his caption for this on the Facebook group.
I saw.
He said, "Here's a character that even Dave could get."
I mean, hopefully.
And he's right. It's Tobey Maguire, right?
Sure, but who is Tobey Maguire playing?
Andrew Garfield.
That's the guy in the middle, and then who's the one on the right? On the
right, the one on the right is Tom Holland.
Correct.
Okay, fantastic. But yeah, lovely Spider-Man here.
Yeah, I really like the extreme highlights on the legs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
really good contrast. Really punches it. Yeah. And also just like a good transition on those highlights too, because there's a lot of contrast there, but they still kind of transition pretty smoothly, right? Like you don't really have like really hard edges.
Yeah, this is such a cool kit. Alan, if you want a little bit of constructive feedback, I would say the spider that's on Spider-Man's back is red.
Oh, okay.
The one on the front that's on the red is black, and then the one that's on his blue back is red. Like the whole reason, I guess, there's a whole reason why a lot of superheroes were red and blue back in the day. It's because when they would do the print, because remember it's just dots. When they would do the print color compositions, blue and red were really easy to do, and they always looked very like distinct. So that's why like Superman and Spider-Man, like there's so many heroes that are blue and red, and you're like, oh, that's kind of odd that they did that, but it's so that they would show up in the comics.
That's cool.
Excellent. But now he looks great, and I love the Coke can, the addition of the Coke can there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. And Alan says, "Thanks, Jake. I had no idea."
Yeah, I'm a huge Spider-Man guy, so
yeah. Yeah, many photos ever had pics of his back. No,
yeah, there's I only know it from in the comics when they show him like climbing up a wall, and they show his back as he's going up the wall, and you'd see the red spider on his back.
Yeah, excellent. It is a weird thing though that miniature companies are really sort of reticent to show the back of the models.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the things I like about GW on their website, it's one of the few things I like about their new McDonald's interactive website that they have, is when you click on they do the full they do the full resolve and they do the 360. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a great way to be like, oh, okay, that's what that model looks like. Got it.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, like if you had a double page spread with two forces about to clash, they were both sort of coming at.
Yeah,
like they were attacking each other at 45
they're 45. They're coming around a corner towards each other.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't charging directly across because you couldn't have the back of somebody. And now any of the shots where the army's coming towards them and you've got some opponents at the front, the opponents, you see it's their backs, but they're always out of focus.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't get it.
Or they're like turned. Like one of my favorites is there's a great, I think it's from an old Space Marine poster, but there's like a whole bunch of like Space Marines and stuff like coming towards you. So like they're obviously the focus. And then there's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's the Sigmarites. There's a bunch of Sigmarites coming towards you, and there's a bunch of like the Khorne guys that are fighting them, and it's like that's the Sigmarites, and there's a Khorne guy in the front being like he's turned back yelling towards his troops. So again, to your point, it's not his back. He's like turned around. And you're like, but you're fighting those guys, and he's like, yeah, I'm being like, we gotta get those guys, and they're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Excellent. But nice work, Alan. Good one. Amos.
Dude, this I was really excited to see this. I am a sucker for starship combat games, especially like fleet battle specifically. So I was like, oh, this is so awesome.
Yeah, these are all pretty big for spaceship combat.
He said this is for, what is it, Star Admiral or something? I was like, I don't know that game.
Was it Void Admiral? I think
maybe it's Void Admiral.
These big ships here are like 5 or 6 inches long. So
there's been so many games over the years. After Battlefleet Gothic went away, you basically had, because that runs on the Armada system. So then you had like 19 companies make versions of that. Like you've got the one that Hawk War Games put out, and then they put out the Halo version that killed the company, and then you've got like Drop Fleet Commander, which is another one, and then there's Firestorm Armada. Like there's a whole bunch of them. So like I wasn't familiar with this one when he mentioned it. At least if it's Void Admiral, I didn't know that one.
Is it one of the STL based games? They recently announced spaceship combat.
Maybe. I mean,
it's all 3D
like one-page rules, or
I don't know what it's called. I can't remember. Hank had some of the minis the last time we hung out.
Oh,
Amos might know it. Like I love, especially like this. This is my favorite kind of style. The big chunky, like blocky starships.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh, there we go. Void Admiral is $7 on Amazon. There we go.
Wow.
It's like Battlefleet Gothic, but streamlined. There we go. And Jez says Rick Priestley is just releasing a set of fleet rules.
Oh, so it's minis agnostic. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I can bust out my my Battlefleet Imperialis for us and just be like, hey, there you go.
But they look great, Amos. Really nice work. Excellent. Next up,
just something about a big armored wedge.
Yeah, for sure. Cal, we've got some couple of shots from Cal. Cal's been working on some terrain. Some
I thought he was showing us his other hobby.
All right, mushroom collecting.
Yeah.
Yep. No, but it's mushroom based terrain. So there's, pardon me, this one, and
he said he made this one a lot of Sprugu.
Sprugu, yeah. So it's kind of some kind of frightening stuff going on in the middle here.
Yeah.
So like stretched and tortured kind of landscape.
And
we just microwave in
there.
Did you say pile of cranberries? I was thinking it might be pomegranate seeds, but
could be.
Bunch of red scare. It's a bunch of Scotch bonnet chili peppers.
Nice.
That guy's a little skeleton over there. Yeah, you got it all.
Yeah, excellent. But no, good work there, Cal.
Some xenomorph eggs in the background.
Nice and inventive. Oh, yeah. That's what you do if you've got leftover green stuff at the end of a sculpting session. Roll it up into something that's going to be like a mushroom or a cactus.
I've been using them, using the excess stuff to make stalactites and stalagmites.
Yeah, nice. That's good. I raised a poor rock child with vegan myconid left some seeds. Yeah, that's me. So, it just says we don't ask Cal about what he does out on his ranch. That's not to know. Absolutely, looking good there. Chris Walker.
These look awesome. All right, Dave. Who are these two?
Well, that's Colossus on the left.
Yep.
And this is where I say I have absolutely no idea who is on the right there.
John, do you know who that is?
I want to say it's like Sunstorm or something, isn't it?
Very close. Sunspot. That's Roberto da Casa.
New Mutant guy, right? Wasn't he a New Mutant? Yeah.
He basically when he activates his power, he starts absorbing solar radiation, and his skin turns black like a sunspot, and then he can fly and use like sort of heat-based powers.
That's cool. How long can he store that energy? Is he like kind of useless at night, or
no? So his body just because it's not sunlight, it's solar radiation. So the Earth is always being hit by solar radiation.
Okay.
So he just can kind of like build it up, and he can like deplete it, but he never like runs out.
That's cool. Yeah. I always thought the New Mutants were kind of cool. They had some interesting characters in there.
Yeah, they had some really fun ones.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris's colors are so good.
Yeah, they really pop. Like very comic booky.
All right, how about these two, Dave?
Well, I was going to say Spider-Man, but it's not, right?
No.
Is it? And it's not Mark Morales. Is it Mark Morales?
It's Miles Morales, but no, that's not Miles. That's not Miles Morales.
It's not. Who's that?
No, that's the Scarlet Spider.
The Scarlet Spider.
He is a clone of Peter Parker. That's Ben Reilly.
Okay, I should have known by his blue hoodie.
Oh, well, they had to keep the color scheme together, right? It's blue and red. But...
Awesome.
And then, and who's that guy?
Red Skull.
Nice. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
that one's pretty easy though.
Yeah, that was super easy.
Johnny's doing good. I'm proud. He's getting a lot of them.
Yeah, I didn't know Scarlet Spider. I didn't know that one. I'm not too boned up on the
He was really big in like I want to say like late 90s, early 2000s. They had this whole thing where it was a really weird story arc. Like Peter finds out that he's not the original Peter Parker, like he's a replacement clone, and then they did a whole arc for like I want to say a year and a half, and people didn't like it. So then to change it, they were like, "Oh, the Peter who thought he was the real Spider-Man and comes back is actually not the real Spider-Man. He's a clone that has implanted memories."
Okay.
So then they were like, "The real Peter is the real Peter," and I was like, "Okay, cool." Like it was a fun trip you took us on, guys. I'm glad that Peter's back.
Excellent. Cool, but yeah, nice work, Chris. Looking good. Next up, Chris Jones. Cleaning up these aggressors.
Very nice.
Probably about an hour or so after I pulled this photo off and stuck it in the presentation, Chris posted another picture where he was like, "Oh, I got the
the transfers and stuff.
Decals. They were the wrong decals, so I scrubbed them off and I repainted the shoulder pads, and he's going to put some new ones on."
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Are they Dark Angels?
Yeah, they're Dark Angels.
Yeah. I see their chapter symbol now. Cool.
Yeah, Dark Angels are weird. Like there's such a variety of greens you can use. Like we've all been kind of conditioned to be like they're supposed to be dark, like almost evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
But like Chris Gorka painted some a couple months ago, and they were almost like lizard man green. Like they were really, really bright.
What you might think a salamander might look like or something.
Yeah, 100%. So, and these kind of read that way. They're in the middle. You're like, oh, are they salamanders? Are they dark angels? Mm-hmm. It all depends on what your particular brain wants green to look like.
They definitely read as dark angels. I wasn't quite sure because it's a little lighter than what I normally see dark angels.
Yeah. No, I think that looked great. Nice work, Chris.
Nice.
Very cool. Good to see you painting again. Dave Hummel shared with us his the additions to his pile of opportunity.
There's a couple Arbor Sliders for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool stuff there.
That's a very cool kit, by the way. The Artist Lighter kit is awesome.
Yeah. I'm tempted. I haven't picked one up yet.
We spoke about how cool that kit was at length before we jumped on tonight.
Yeah. Super neat.
Excellent.
Totally derailed me. I should have been priming and painting rocks and things. And I was like, I need to assemble this Artist Lighter. Must do it.
Nice. And Dave is also working on some more of his second company veterans.
Nice. That's the old Sterngard squad, isn't it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It sure is. I love this guy with the like the hero stance and the raised bolter.
Far right.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, that kit was great.
Yeah. Nice work, Dave. Come along. Dave Powell's.
Oh yeah, I saw this. He made like a custom miniatures box.
Yep. So took this box that looks like a book. Out of that 3D printed fleur-de-lis on the front.
This must be for Mordheim stuff?
Yep.
Yeah. I know he's hot for Mordheim right now.
Yeah. So this is Sisters Warband. These are the ones from Bombshell Minis. So
yeah, Pat did all these, right?
Patrick in the chat.
Yep.
But yeah, he did all of these. Ran a Kickstarter for it last year.
Awesome.
I think it was Dark Grim City. But yep. Yeah, there we go. He did a great job painting my sculpts. He very much did.
Deathberg.
Yeah. But it's very cool. It's an awesome box there, Dave.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Love it. That's awesome.
Now I have to paint up my Witch Hunter Warband and give Dave a game at AdeptiCon.
I have some Mordheim guys too. I was talking to him about it. I converted some fishmen.
Oh, nice.
I use the Lizardmen rules for them.
Yep. Very cool. Excellent.
That's my Praetor.
There we go.
Nice.
It was kind of funny because I know like, you sent this to me after last week's show, but you didn't say, "Hey, here's a picture for the show."
Oh, all right.
So earlier at the beginning when you were talking about it, and you said, "I've got a photo coming up later," I was like, That was a quick mad scramble to jam it in.
Well, we didn't notice, Dave. You're a master.
Yeah, smooth. Nobody knew, Dave.
No, it's just totally smooth. No hiccups. No one's the wiser.
I redid them. Like, so I had originally built this when the box first came out, and I sent Dave photos. He had like different arms and like a jump pack. I gave him one of the old Raptor jump packs with the big vents.
Yeah.
And then when we were getting ready to do this tournament for AdeptiCon, I was like, well, you can't have anything. Technically, I could have given him a jump pack, but it'd be weird. He'd be the only thing in the army with a jump pack. So I was like, I'll just break it off. So I stuck him in the freezer and like snapped off the jump pack and ripped off his arms. And those are this kit is parts from like 5 different kits, I think. So his legs and his torso and his head and the backpack are all from the actual Praetor that comes in the Horus Heresy box. It's the guy with the axe. And like he looks like little Horus,
yeah,
or little Abaddon, basically. It's Abaddon the teen years. But then the arms are from the Warp Talons kit. I filed all of the Chaos stuff off the hands because there's like all these weird like lightning bolts connecting everything. So I filed them off so they're all smooth. I'm gonna put Warhound's logos on the backs of his hands, and then the shoulder plates are oversized. They're from the Adeptus Custodes sprue.
Yep.
So I filed looking at it this way, the one on the right side, his left shoulder pad, I filed it smooth so that I can mount the Warhounds logo there. And then the right hand one, because he's a loyalist, it's the big double eagle that's on the Custodes.
Okay.
So I'll paint that. That'll be all like gold or brass or something. And then because the model itself has a little like pistol, I filed everything off and used the Paterges from the old Space Marine Commander sprue to cover that.
Yeah. And
then I still got to keep filing the belt buckle, but the big belly plate, there's studs on it. But I filed it so I can put a Warhounds logo in there, or I might just do a Roman numeral 12. But yeah, this kit was really fun. He looks like a gorilla. He's so top heavy.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he's going to be an absolute monster in that game.
Nice. But yeah, looking good. Looking good.
Thanks, man. He was fun.
Next up, John Steining.
This guy's going really fast. You can tell because his banner's bending back.
His lance is bending back. Yeah. Yep. Is the problem sometimes with the resin kits that you get that bend.
I told John when he posted this, I was like, get out the heat gun, man, or a hairdryer on high.
Yeah.
Just. But he said he likes it because it makes it look like he's going really fast. And I was like, that's fine. It's your model, man.
Okay.
Yep. Wraithbone's not always as strong as we think it is. It's heavier and not quite as strong.
This is made from wraith cartilage.
Yeah.
Wraith cartilage. Okay. Right.
Somewhat akin to a pool noodle, typically.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, there we go.
He just boops you with it as he goes by.
Yeah. Just marks you for the heavy hitters that come in later.
Nice.
Yep. John said that he's fixed it already, so that's good. Yep. And Scott says coming in resin kits over 40 years old.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Excellent. John also in the chat there reminded people to don't forget to like the video.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
And thanks everybody. I see everybody's telling me that they like the model, so I appreciate that.
Yep. Excellent. Next up, nice work there, John. Painting looks great.
Yeah, the carrot, like the body of the bike looks really cool. He's got a little bit of this sort of the Starscape like flex in it.
Yep. But then the scratches and the damage looking good. Nice. Jonathan Palomo painting up some terrain, working on some cool terrain there.
So making a Necromunda terrain for John.
Yeah, I wish. I actually have 2 of those big vault things on my to-do list.
Excellent. Have you painted any of them yet, or just the?
I have not. No, I'm using them for. I have a couple tables that are using secundist scenarios.
Okay.
And I'm using those for the data vaults on those scenarios.
Right.
And I haven't decided how I want to paint them yet. So I don't know.
Cool.
They kind of have like almost like a plasma reactor-y bit on the side, like
Right.
exposed plasma coil kind of thing. So I might do some OSL or something on them. Make them really stand out. They're kind of like the centerpiece of the scenario, so maybe I should make them look fancy.
Yeah. Nice. Good. We look forward to seeing how you paint them up, Jonathan. Especially if you use some of this paint.
Dang.
He said he was digging through a box and found some of this old paint.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude, he's got some tin bits in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Goblin
Is that-
green.
Is that chestnut ink?
Yeah. Chestnut wash.
Oh, chestnut wash. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you name that metallic green color without looking at the label? Can you remember what it's called?
Oh God, I don't remember that one.
No,
Is
I
it
can't
dark?
read what's on the screen, but I think it's glistening green.
I think you're right. I think it is glistening green.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I used to mess with that set. I remember. I used a bit of the old glistening green back in the day.
Yeah.
Tin bits was so good.
Oh, Timbits is that one's money.
Timbits
That's
is
great.
He's got a flesh wash in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Some enchanted blue and 3 pots of snakebite leather.
Nice.
Nice.
It's in Goblin Green, bases only.
I think I have a full box. I think they came in 6 into a box of nauseating blue. That's the color I had from back in the day. I have 6 of them still sealed, so I got to figure out some army project that's going to use nauseating blue.
I love nauseating blue because there was Deadly Nightshade and there was Lich Purple, and nauseating blue was right in the middle of those two. I use purple a lot and Deadly Nightshade a lot, and so that color did make me sick because it was it just confused my brain.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird one in my experience too. I felt like it separated at times, and it would separate into blue and purple in a weird way.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like it kind of had the binder was purpley or something. I don't know what was with it.
Yeah, it did not. I remember that one. It did not want to stay together. If you left it alone, the solids would be like a pile of blue, and then all of the medium would look like purple, and you had to remix it to
totally.
Yeah,
that was back in the days before you had paint shakers and vortex mixers and all that sort of stuff. So this for 20 minutes. You know?
That's so funny.
Super cool. Nice one. Thanks for sharing that, Jonathan.
Brings us back.
It's fun to talk about old paints.
Oh yeah, dude, I'll
Those
talk
are,
about
those are his
all
10
day.
paints. Those are Jonathan's 10 paints he wants to bring to an island.
Yeah. 3 pots of snakebite leather.
Yeah.
Awesome. Josh Potter just painted up this this wicked model.
I think it's a troll.
I think you're right. I think it is.
Very nice.
Yeah, looking good. Josh is also moving into the painted backgrounds sphere.
I like it. Yeah, it's cool.
Again, got a piece of canvas and painted up a cool sort of desert landscape.
You know what I've been thinking about for miniature photography lately? For that backdrop, just using like an iPad or something.
Okay.
And then just putting like iPad, just images of whatever. I think the only thing you'd have to make sure that your front lights are bright enough that it wouldn't get.
Yeah, otherwise it'll be backlit.
Yeah, you want to avoid that. But it's like I like the idea of the flexibility of just using images on the internet, or even just using like a big, like flat screen TV with like kind of a matte screen or something on it, like as a backdrop for photography. I might mess with that at some point.
I recently bought a whole bunch of last year I pledged for kind of Kickstarter for a bunch of backdrop books from John Hodgson in the UK. So I've got books that are I think I got all of the A3 size. He did like an A4 size and an A3 size.
Oh, cool.
So they're all about this big, and there's a bunch of different settings. There's different landscapes. There's alien landscapes. There's like sci-fi and fantasy kind of look, but everything's very it's not high contrast in the backdrop. It's a very, very low contrast. So the focus will still be on the miniatures, but essentially designed specifically for folks to put some terrain down, stick them in the terrain, and put these backdrops.
Kind of screen back a little bit to suggest like the atmospheric perspective of things going back and whatever. Yeah.
John, just do all the stuff you used to do at White Dwarf. Just like take a photo and then digitally cut around the photo and then change the background.
Well, thankfully in the sometimes I think about all the lost time I had like cutting out miniatures.
Yeah.
Because Photoshop now has a number of tools that make that process a lot easier.
Absolutely.
But man, I remember like the bane, like so Steve Fuller and I used to like cut out a bunch of miniatures and stuff for White Dwarf to put on screen. And invariably you would get the guy that would do like a model train tree as a background or something like that with like all these teeny tiny little leaves and stuff. And in order to cut all that stuff out, you actively have to go in and click dot by dot, create a perimeter line around the entire thing to cut it all out. And then you can then select and remove the background with like really tight and good levels of accuracy. And it was the most tedious thing in the world. Like it was so mind-numbing. Like you would spend like sometimes 3 hours just cutting out a single miniature.
Dude, I remember Steve. We were talking one time. I remember he was super upset. Somebody had sent in an army, and it was something you guys were using. It was a community member sent in their army, and you guys had asked for it. Like, as he had sent in a model, and you were like, "Oh yeah, send us pictures of the army." And whatever background he had used was like giving Steve fits because it was something that had like tons of color, and the army was really colorful. So he had to like go in and figure out like where the models ended and where the background.
Yeah, and that makes it really tough because you can't really see the silhouette to actually draw that perimeter line around the miniature.
Oh man!
Nowadays, with all these AI tools and stuff, you can do it at clicking 2 buttons.
Excellent.
So it's quite a bit easier than it used to be. But
well, we're going to move on from Josh's surprise troll here and his cool backdrop that he has painted, and on to Justin McCoy.
Nice.
So Mr. Justin has been working on basically a floating boat. I can't remember the name of the concept artist. It's but it's in his post anyway. But he has this piece. This side is it's got some weathering going on it.
Really cool.
Like some weathering pencils, and
he's got some 3D elements with like the wires up the top.
Yep. And then so this is the weathered side, and this is the side that hasn't received the weathering yet.
Nice.
So we'll get that chipping. So I think this is it's just sort of a 90-degree turn there. So the right-hand side that we're looking at here with those wires,
right on,
is on the left-hand side here.
Very cool.
And this is part of a ship, like a
Like a-
floating ship, like an airship, or like a
like a
helicarrier?
like a floating tugboat airship kind of thing.
Okay.
Nice.
A little bit of that floating noodle boat from Fifth Element.
Oh,
But
okay. Right on.
there's an artist who does has done some famous pieces. Really can't remember. I've forgotten the name. Feel bad, but yeah, Justin's still got quite a bit of work to go on this, but he'll share it with us along the way.
Yeah, it's looking good.
But yeah,
I like the subtle chipping on the lettering and stuff. It looks really nice.
yeah, there's something good there. Nice. Nice work, Justin. Great.
Nice. Little dynamic reposing.
Yeah, that looks cool.
And some fantastic little green stuff work there from Patrick Keith.
Yeah, and the knee joints.
Yeah.
I like it.
Nice little bit of sticker placement there.
Yeah.
Looking over the shoulder. Bombshell minis. Good
Some
work.
NASCAR action.
Oh, he's even got the web address in that photo.
Yeah.
Go and check it out, bombshellminis.com. Nice one. And Patrick is also working on some drop troops.
Cool.
Yeah, we were talking about this. He's gonna do. He's gonna kind of make a mashup of like the Harkoni Warhawks and the Elysian drop troops from Forge World, and do like a drop army. I was like, that's rad.
That sounds great. Yeah, very cool.
Yep.
Do those drop troop guys in the picture? Do they have rules in 40K, or are they just a kill team?
Yeah, they're the Tempestus Aquilons, so they're part of the same, I guess, detachment as the Scions, but they're jump troops.
Cool.
Yep. And yeah, I think they're in the new codex. Are they the Astra Militarum Codex?
I mean, I would assume so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Makes sense, right? I feel like they've integrated all the kill teams so far.
Yeah.
Into their parent armies.
Yeah.
In some way. Yeah, definitely. But looking great. Looking forward to seeing these guys in action, Patrick. Nice.
Cool.
Next up, Scott
Cool.
Freedom.
This is a Cad Bane.
Nice, yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. I thought you were
I
going
like
to ask
that
me,
sculpt
Jake.
quite a bit. He's definitely cool.
I thought you were going to ask me if I knew the character, and I had it already. I had it lined up.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
That's
Thanks.
okay. But yeah, he does look great. I love the that the brown leather strap is a different brown leather to the brown leather coat
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
underneath, which again is a different brown leather to the brown leather boots. So
It's a lot of browns.
nice sort of mix there, Scott. But yeah, looking very cool.
Yeah, it's very good. The light effects he did on like the shoulder and like the lapel are really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep, popping out there.
I love that character. He's so cool.
Yeah, I do love it. It's not. It hasn't done not quite a cast shadow look, but the highlight up here along this top part of the collar is definitely not as intense as the highlight
Mm-hmm.
over here. It's nice because it is in shadow from there.
He's such a cool character. He absolutely is supposed to be Clint Eastwood's The Man with No Name in the Star Wars universe. The problem is that every time he's shown up in canon, like whether it's in the cartoon or more, or even better, like in the show, they have him face off against the Mandalorian and Boba Fett, who are the two most dangerous guys in the galaxy. So Cad Bane kind of looks like a clown because you're like, you're so outclassed. Like,
Yeah. I feel like there are a couple Clone Wars episodes where you're really shown, but when he's kind of the heel.
when he's kind of doing his own thing, he's fine. It's just whenever you need him to be like, I'm the big bad, it's like, well, here's a bigger bad, and you're like, oh, okay, not as good.
But there we go. Patrick says he's actually the Lee Van Cleef character.
That makes more sense.
He's the bad. Yeah. Angel Eyes. There we go.
Yeah, he's Angel in Black. There you go.
Nice. But yeah, it looks great, Scott. Scott does say it's not a good paint job for gaming, though. Nothing stands out from 2 feet away. Need to work on that.
You could pop that though. It'd be super easy to just, if you wanted him to be a really good tabletop model and not get because he's a lot of earth tones, to not get washed out, I would just take a cue from Chris Gorka. I'd make his blue skin really pop, and his eyes, and then you could also kick up all the silver and make it look all like shiny chrome. That would immediately kick that up. You'd have a couple points that would really like pop.
But yeah, nice.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, Scott always does a good job. So
next up, Sean.
Yikes.
This is his most recent model, I think.
Well, that thing's wild.
It's the Mothman and little rabbit guy with a backpack.
A devil jackalope.
Nice.
Is that like a weird miniature, or what is that from?
I'm assuming that this is for Malifaux or something.
But yeah, and I love Sean's work on it. Yeah, it says excellently weird.
Yeah,
sure.
Like WYRD, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like from that publisher.
But yeah, no, I love this. I love the work that Sean's done on the wings there. Yeah, there we go. So it says, I think that's Malifaux, a very real game.
Sure, maybe in Canada.
But yeah, Sean will let us know. Looking great there.
The
And
purple
Sean's also shared a couple of other minis that he's been working on.
Very nice. What is that? What is that thing on the top right?
Is it?
That's
Is it
Lady Hera from Necromunda.
That is Lady Hera in her Spyro rig?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thought it might be. And then one of the Sylvaneth characters.
Yep. That guy I knew.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think that Lady Hera model, is that resin? It must be resin, right?
I think
yeah, that's why I don't know a lot of the Forge World stuff, so
yeah, there we go. Sean says it's Malifaux for that crazy bug.
Cool.
That crazy purple poisoned blade in the succubus is pretty rad.
Yeah, looking nice. Good work, Sean. Cool. Next up, Steven.
Some hobgoblins.
These hobgoblins?
Those are dark elves. Those are very old dark elves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think those are the old like crossbow.
Oh, like those might be grenadier. Those might be grenadier dark elves.
Might be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They kind of look like the
the
ones that like the old Mangle Manflayer ones. That was like a really old box, like metal box set. Like
maybe.
Yeah.
They redid them like after the fact, but there was like an original box. They had helmets that were like that. I feel. Yeah.
For sure. But no, they look really cool. And again, in front of Steven's painted backdrop.
Yeah, I like that. That looks cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very cool. Oh, there we go. I said they are
secret skeleton made. Wait, from 2010? These models look like they're from 1979.
Yeah. They're metal, but yeah. No, they look cool. Nice job on them. And Steven's also going to be working on this crazy orc war boss.
I like this plastic bib he's got going on.
What's that?
The plastic like bib he's got going on.
Right.
Super.
I would say underplate, but sure, we'll go with bib.
I love me. No, he just got back from the vet. It's the cone, so he can't get to himself.
Okay, yep. Can't bite off his own belly.
Yeah, the Big Mac just put all this stuff on him. He doesn't want him to take it off.
Yeah. There he goes. Steven says one of his oldest friends did this conversion between 98 and 01 and never painted it. So he's tackling it now.
Nice.
Very cool. It's almost like his take on Gaskell, because you got like, it looks like you could have like Makari on his back with the boss pole.
Right. Well, I think it's got is it a snotling?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you could be like, oh, it's Gaskell. That's Makari.
Yeah. Nice. He says he's already painting it, so we'll see it in the next couple of weeks. Excellent. And finally, I think Steven received his copy of The Art of.
Nice.
So super excited that these are starting to filter out into the world. I think Alex at Ironheart has told me that the last of the US, the last of the Americas packages should be going out by the end of this week. And I know fulfillment from ShipQuest has started for the rest of the world. And they should be heading out over the next week or two. But very exciting. Yes. And Steven says, yes, I love it. Great job, Dave. So Super excited about that. Yeah, nice.
Very cool.
And then next week, as I said, we'll be talking with Brian Cullen. When you know Brian from, Jake?
So Brian is, how did I meet Brian? So Brian is good friends with Doug Shute, who used to be the North American events director for Free League Press. And
Okay.
I think I met Brian through Doug. And then he has a game, Vast Grim, which is a sort of like sci-fi survival horror game that runs on the Morkborg engine.
Right.
So I've known him for a couple of years. He's also really good friends with my buddy Alan, who you met at San Diego Comic-Con. Alan's a really good artist, and Alan's done some art for Brian as well. And they have a love of like the sort of I guess like synthwave palette. So it's like, you know, the aquas and the pinks and the turquoises, like that whole kind of family. But super nice guy. And yeah, Sqwurmish is his new like skirmish game that you play in his universe.
Right.
The models are super cool. It's kind of like, it's probably up John's alley. It's like Necromunda meets Doctor Who. It's probably like the best way I can describe it. But like super wacky and weird, like really, really cool.
Kind of pulp sci-fi kind of stuff.
Yeah, but again, more like weird, like creepy survival space horror stuff.
Yeah, I'm into that. Sounds cool.
So cool. So we'll be talking with Brian next week. We're excited to learn a bit more. His Kickstarter launched today, so you can go and check that out. Get prepared for our conversation for next week. Link is in the notes below. Very cool. Excited. Okay, now we'll go back to us. Woohoo!
So you want to do my colors?
Oh yeah. So I know that Scott's been waiting the entire time. So.
Yeah, it'll match up perfectly to go with our as a big thank you to the Army Painter for being our sponsor. I will now tell you the colors that I would take with me. So this took a while, and I'm glad I clarified with Scott, because if I was just picking 10 of my favorite colors, this would not look like this.
Right.
But he was like, and Matt, the concept is, imagine you're stuck on an island and you have 10 colors. And Scott amended that last week. You have black and white and then 10 colors.
Yeah.
So matte black, matte white, and then I would do pure red, demonic yellow, and royal blue. And with just those 5 colors, I can basically make every color. And then I would take greedy gold and shiny silver, so I have a nice pure gold, a nice pure silver, and I can darken them up or lighten them up with either white or black. And then I took dark tone and I took light tone, because I can make strong tone with the two.
You mean soft tone?
I'm sorry?
You mean dark tone and soft tone?
No, dark tone and light tone.
Light tone?
Soft tone is almost like,
it's like sepia.
Yeah, but light tone is like in between. It's
okay, radio.
It's not as yellow as the sepia tone. It's just a lighter strong tone, basically.
I just haven't used it at all.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
I didn't know that it existed, so I didn't. Hearing the words light tone, I was like, I don't think that exists.
Yeah, it's so when they used to only make 3.
Yeah,
those were the 3. They made dark tone, strong tone, and light tone. That's it.
No, it wasn't light tone. They made soft tone.
Maybe am I? Did I write? Now you got me confused. Did I write down the wrong tone?
What about def tone? Isn't that one?
No, it's light tone. Light tone is new. Light tone is in between. It's in between soft tone and sepia tone.
But yeah, the old one was soft tone, strong tone, and dark tone.
Okay, yeah. So light tone is the kind of the capstone from dark stone. It's a little softer. So the light tone is the one that I would want. It's in between sepia and soft tone. It's a little more neutrally, but by mixing it with dark tone, I can make almost anything. So, and then it leaves me with 3 colors to kind of pick stuff that I wanted. So I picked kind of like intermediate tones between the 3. So I took Eternal Hunt, which is like a nice kind of like emeraldy green. It's like a shade darker than like kind of Kelly green. And then I took Deep Azure, which is like a really nice turquoisey sort of sea blue, and then Wicked Pink, which is a really nice sort of like magenta.
It's nice.
But between all of those, like you can mix and match. There's a really cool thing that Adam Pratt found years ago. Yeah, that color's great. So there's a really cool thing that Adam Pratt found years ago. So some kid was really complaining that he couldn't get the old Games Workshop colors. So this guy was like, oh, okay. He's like, buy this yellow, buy this blue, buy this red, get a black and get a white. And then he basically had the formulas for everything. So it was like, oh, you want to make Catechin green? It's 2 dots of black, 2 dots of blue, 1 dot of yellow, and then that makes Catechin green. It was like, oh, you want to make, bilious green? It's 4 dots of white, 1 dot of blue, 2 dots of yellow. Like, it was wild. So he was just like, if you have these 5 colors, here's how to make every color in the old GW catalog.
Nice.
So that was kind of how I looked at it. I was like, okay, if Scott's like, you have an endless supply of these colors, I was like, that's what I would take because I can make everything else.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. So there you go, Scott. You have your list. Yes. They do seem like a nightmare, but
they're pretty straightforward.
Cool. Excellent.
I'm trying to think what else. So we'll see Brian next week.
Yep.
And then you and I are gonna have to talk because in a couple weeks I'm gonna be at Gamma.
Yeah. Yep. We'll work that out. So see who you can talk to at Gamma, because you can do the show from Gamma, which would be great.
I probably could.
You could. They have internet in Kentucky.
It'll sound a little weird though because I won't have my mic with me, so you'll be using whatever mic my laptop has.
You can take it with you. You'll be fine. But yeah, we'll work that out. We'll be talking with Brian next week, and maybe live from Gamma. We'll see. We'll talk it out.
Maybe we'll see.
But yeah, don't forget. If you're watching the show and you want to win a ticket to AdeptiCon, you need to make a comment down below, not in the chat, in the comments, either this week's video or next week's video. And you need to comment the name of the Legion that Jake is painting to take to AdeptiCon, which is, Jake?
I have to say it again? No, you got to go back and watch the episode. I'm not
It's about 10 minutes in.
Yeah, I say it near the beginning. Do your homework. Eat your vegetables.
So sounds great. And so some folks have had to head off, saying thank you. Awesome. Blah, blah, blah. What we got? Can't see a nightmare. Cheers, fellows. Thank you, John. Awesome Necromunda and goodness. Cheers, folks. That was Jess. Great stuff, John. Nobody mentioned it, but mad props for laminating your scenario sheets. People don't respect that enough.
They don't. They do not.
Awesome. Cool.
That's old school.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Now I'm beholden to laminating them again this year. So,
yeah.
All right. Now I got to do it.
People will notice if you don't.
Yeah, well,
thank you guys so much, John. Thanks again for being here, man. It was awesome hanging out and getting to talk.
Yeah, it was always a pleasure, guys.
We will see you in a month or two. But everybody hang out. Dave, we good to go?
I think so.
All right. Everybody paint your models. If you got any questions, you can always message us on the Facebook page, or you can poke Dave or I. Let us know if you need anything.
Put a comment under any of
Yeah, don't forget to put a comment if you want a chance to win a $20 coupon to the AdeptiCon store and a AdeptiCon badge.
Yep.
Thank you guys again. Everybody have a good night. Be safe, and as always, do not forget to build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down.